What a little guy. A little big guy. As we always say on this channel, the early chat gets the moch. That's for sure. He's got the big purrs today. Gotta get him closer to the microphone. Get those mochi purrs. I'm so short. Can't even see the legend. Not my stool falling over. With my toes. Sorry, I'm freaking you out, Mochi. You gotta leave the people one last glorious appearance. What an all-star cat. What a winner. Who's such a good guy? Oh my heck. Absolute 5-star chonker. Good job, Moch. I will never return to the world of dating, but if I had to, in some other cursed lifetime, I feel like I would just post pictures of myself holding Mochi the way dudes post pictures of themselves catching fish. Can't imagine I would get a lot of bites, but, you know. They'd be like, why does she need anybody? She clearly has her soulmate. That's clearly enough man for anybody. I know. I will release you. Did you see the way everything wobbled when his fat ass jumped down? Now that's how you know you have a heckin' chonker of a cat. Oh man, anyone who tuned in just hoping to immediately be audio only friendly is like, what is even going on right now? But those who know. It's not a true Dadvocate stream without some kind of adorable creature being present. I like to start us off early and strong with some pet tax, but alas, it is time to formally and officially start. We had a cat, the microphone is on and working, we're on time, I have my water, my emotional support water, and hopefully you guys have everything that you need to enjoy another Dadvocate stream hosted by yours truly, Lauren, as always. And this is a stream that you should be able to enjoy like a podcast, where it's audio only friendly. We might react to some visual things, but I will do my best to verbally describe all of them to you. If you're unfamiliar with what we tend to cover on this channel, it's mostly a lot of relationships, dating, trying to bridge the gaps between men and women with humor. We talk about parenting and co-parenting. I advocate for fathers' rights and equal shared parenting. We make fun of cheaters, we call out double standards, and we cover all kinds of other buffoonery and bungholery in between. This is a live stream, so if you would like, feel free to engage with the chat, feel free to send some super chats if you really need to get my attention. Let me double check, just make sure that I did not miss any. Okay, so it is still your chance to be the first super chat of the day. It doesn't do a whole lot, I will say, besides helping out my channel, of course, but I will give you and you alone a high five. It will look like I'm giving everyone a high five, but you will know in your heart that it's for you. Other things of note, I would like to thank our sponsors of this stream. You, anybody especially who clicks like on the video. Helps a ton, helps shoot me out into the algorithm. We're also almost to 550,000 subs. So like I said, sharing any of my videos, liking stuff, really helps get me there. And that's awesome. So I say, without further ado, I guess you could also join my YouTube membership and Patreon. There's like merch and exclusive access and early releases, blah blah blah. Look, let's just get into it. I don't need to keep plugging away. Okay, we want to get to the content. We want the meat and potatoes. Oh, snap! It looks like I have a high five to give to Shadow God, and Shadow God only for the first super chat of the day. Thank you, Shadow God. So close, Hammers. So close. Shadow God says, I'll be there tomorrow, I promise. Good. Yeah. We're doing a members only live tomorrow. Ad free. So if you do join the Patreon or the YouTube, you will have the unlisted link at your dispense to come along and hang out. It'll be a good time.
Did you say Shadow God?
Yeah. TJ's so mad at you for missing the last one. Look at that disappointed
dude?
Father look. Wow, you disappointing the tripod. That one's gotta hurt.
No. Did they hear our critique of it?
We didn't get super deep into it.
But did they hear our impasse? Did they hear about like...
I don't know if Shadow God watched the last members only where we briefly touched on it, but we will get into it. We will. Hammer says, I am not a potato. I mean, you can be while you're listening if you want. I give you permission to potato.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Be a potato, dude. You should take a potato day every once in a while.
Yeah, I truly think. We do have TJ for a little bit. He's still working on the last of his comic. He announced to everybody that it would be ready for the weekend. It was not, in fact.
I fell asleep early all 3 nights.
It was... Which is mostly my fault. TJ, like, you know how they say that when you're around the person that you love, you get sleepier? It's like something about the oxytocin chemicals that are released. Like when you feel safe and comfortable with a person, you tend to get sleepier around them. And like TJ, he has this like weird thing. I've told him he doesn't have to worry about it, but like if I go to bed, he wants to be there. And I'm like, you don't have to worry about it.
And the
like,
biggest thing is like, I don't want you to put the kid to bed alone. It feels like a bad parent when she goes up with you.
You wake her up alone. He lets me sleep in and he does morning duty. I take over picking her up from school.
All right, I'll make that concession. All right. Okay. The Catholic guilt has been quelled a little bit.
Not the Catholic guilt. There's nothing quite like the Catholic guilt.
Even after deconstruction, that never goes away.
But yes, so he's still working on his comic. If you guys don't know, TJ is coming out with a graphic novel. He already does have his book available. He writes basically expansions for role-playing tabletop. So if you're ever looking for like more of that, more monsters, more worlds, more quests, more characters, he's your guy. And when the comic comes out, it is on sale. It is, but I'm always telling him he needs to stop charging so little.
Well, that's the sale.
He's
It'll go back to regular price after Halloween.
So yeah, you should get it now while it's on sale. And when the comic comes out, I'll let you guys all know. Follow my husband at OTL Rook on all social medias. That's OTL like lima bean, Rook like a chess piece.
I'm a little baby on YouTube. Help me grow.
He is a smaller creator, as they would say. Not a little baby. Nothing little about that man, okay? Shadow God says, I'm sorry, Father Coconut. I apologize sincerely. All right, we'll reduce your lashings.
Great movie recommendation. It
clearly
was nothing against you. It was actually the filmmakers that we were more upset about.
Sorry, I'm trying to decide.
Movie was great. Would recommend it. But Lauren and I finally both got to the root of why both of us...
There's going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. There isn't much to discuss. Shiwan had made a whole video about this anime and the response to it, and TJ and I found even more social critiques, to say the least. Darren Crook, also with the super chat, says, Vicky's able to access the money from their mom's estate now and is looking to buy a place. Congrats, Vicky. Oh, nice. Moving is terrible and annoying, so I wish you all the best with all of that. Hammer says, I'm certain I sent that first. I blame my crappy Starlink Wi-Fi. Not the Starlink! Bruh, you might as well have AOL. What's going on? I'm sorry. I don't know why. Why am I roasting you all? You're here to support me. Why am I being so mean? I do this to everybody. At least people I like. Well, yeah, people I don't like, that's when I'm really mean. Shadow God says, I did watch it. I felt bad. I'm glad you like it. And then Shadow God says again, I meant I apologize for missing the stream. Dude, don't worry about it. We were just joking. It'll be fine. Anyway, today's theme of the stream, we're going to cover one thing as like the main topic, but then we're going to get into some other things. I'm hoping we'll have time to cover 4 topics. So let me give you just the index, the itinerary. What is on the menu for today? So of course there is the topic of the thumbnail, which is something I've covered a lot, but once again, we're going to kind of get into it, and there are some videos I would really like to respond to on the subject, which is, I phrased this so much meaner in my notes. Do you guys want the nice version or the mean version? Fuck it, I'll give you both. So the nice way that I would like to present this topic is, are bitter women keeping their friends single? The mean way that I phrase it in my notes is, are the uggos keeping their hot friends single? No. Actually phrase it even more profanely. I said, are the uggos cock blocking their hot friends?
That sounds like a still issue.
But I used my corporate lingo translator to improve the rhetoric a little bit. That's topic number 1 that we will just get right into, okay? The second one, I'm gonna make you guys rage a little bit. The second one we're gonna cover is how a woman chose to behave at a baseball game toward a man in front of her with a video. And you'll rage. I promise there's karma, though. I promise there's karma. Third thing I want to get into is a woman and her man get into an argument that starts over pizza, but includes some other themes. And the audience is pretty divided on who is correct here in modern day pizza cutting gate. And finally, the last thing that I wanted to cover was... No, that's not what I wanted to do. Where was the other one? That one's a little too crazy. You know what? We'll do it. Then finally, the last topic of the day will get a bit spicy, but I'll be a fair moderator. We're gonna get a little spicy at the end of the stream. So if you want some spice, stay till the end, or keep me in your library and revisit later when you've got time. So that's the itinerary for the day. Right before we get into it, I did see that I missed a singular super chat, but never mind, there's another one. But first, Hammer says, there are not many internet options that can be strapped to a service truck. Yeah, not everybody's getting fiber optic everywhere. Colonel Arnold, so good to see you, says, if it's the video Shu did on that one anime, man, did the Twitter comments make me lose faith in humanity and dating. Well, I mean, if you want to lose faith in humanity, Twitter is an endless source for that. If you ever just want to see pure degeneracy in the worst of mankind, that website is always available for you, you know? I don't even know what Shu and Head is even thinking staying on Twitter, but sometimes we like to troll ourselves. You know, we have the freedoms as Americans to troll ourselves, and that's great. So, let's get right into our very first subject of the day. I've covered a lot on this channel the phenomenon of angry, bitter, single women keeping their other friends single, whether it be by filling their heads with vitriol about men, horror stories about dating, or literally just actively cock blocking them in the moment, out in public, while potential reasonable suitors try to approach. I think a lot of us have seen these kinds of displays, but with the technology age, with everybody having a phone and everybody to record at a moment's notice, we're actually starting to get these scenarios captured for us all to just witness in the flesh. So what we are going to see are a series of videos where a man attempts to approach a woman and is instantly just taken away, practically in handcuffs, by all of her friends that are with her. And I'm curious to see your reactions to this on, is this a pretty valid, fair, protective response from a group of women? Or do you think that they're just standing in the way, denying their friend of her own autonomy and agency to make her own decisions for herself? Or after watching these, do you think it's going to be something in the middle? It seems I've activated a TJ card.
I have input. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but generally speaking, from what, and this is way back from, the before digital dating got really popular, but being in the theater department, a lot of your friends just end up being women because the population density swings one way in the theater department over the other. And so what I gleaned from listening to them talk about their dating lives is, depending on the situation, because again, I don't know what all this is, but generally depending on the situation, there just seemed to be a general lack of interest of when a guy would come and approach them somewhere. Like, oh, I don't want to deal with this right now. Like, I'm out with my friends. I just want to have fun. So, and I know I can't think of specifics, but I know I absolutely would come in sometimes with like the squad of us girlies and be like, hey, no, we're just over here you can come have a good time with all of us if you want, but she doesn't.
Like, you would see them getting approached, you would come in and be like, hey, it's time to get started on our rehearsal.
Yeah, hey, we're going. Or like if it was especially if it was at a bar, like in a social situation, they came with the group of friends and they're like, I'm here with you guys. And you could see this like general just malaise just glaze over them when a dude would come and start like flirting with them, and they'd be like, not now. I'm just trying to enjoy with my friends. I didn't come here to flirt. And when we would see that, it would like and it was always more active because all this guys like me and Kernsey and Jordan were just like, we just would not notice it unless we were acutely aware. But if we saw the squad assembling, we would come and help. And it's just something that I see as this general sort of understanding is, if a girl is out with her friends and they're having a good time, unless she comes and approaches you, just leave them alone.
And it's promoted. It's definitely promoted in female culture. Like, you see videos all the time, especially of like older women who are like bragging, like the whole train clapped style clips of themselves being like, I saw a girl walking by herself and a man approached her and she looked super uncomfortable. So I said, come on, honey, it's time to, finish our shopping trip, and just pretended to be her mom. And she was so grateful. She couldn't stop thanking me. And it's like, I don't know how many of these situations are true or not, but I do know that the reaction to them seems to be overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
Like, women are like, I wish that you could have been there for me through so many times that I was getting harassed in public. And I will say this, you have more experience with this than me. I personally can't think of a time that like my friend was ever like getting spoken to by a man and I like felt the need to interject.
Oh, it was never like
luckily,
yeah.
But like, if you have experience, has there ever been a time where someone was like, like my friends pulled me away from this guy, but like I was actually vibing with him and I wish they didn't do that? Like, have you ever heard a girl complain about that, even if it wasn't you in the moment or like after?
Again, I can't think of specifics. Like I can picture it in my head of being, if they're, especially at parties, like, because I got my big brother floater party shit going on. Is everyone having a good time? Is everyone having a good time? Hey, that guy's really all over you. All right with that? You are? Cool, great, awesome. And it's like, and like I've been forward like that with people before. Like, are you good? Is he being creepy? Not like in front of him, but like, hey, do you need me to come talk? As soon as you're like, hey, is this okay? Is he being creepy? Is he not being creepy? And
I think that's the middle of the road too, as well, and kind of makes a difference in these kinds of situations, is if you already have a rapport with someone and you're like, hey, if you see the signal, come save me.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But like with a lot of these situations, they're just kind of making the executive decision for their friend, on behalf of their friend, for someone else, that you do not want this interaction and I will end it for you. Right? Like, in those situations, what is the level of I guess like social expectation, social appropriateness, like when does it go too far? When is it expected? When is it appreciated?
I think if your friend gives you a signal, or if you can just read your friend with a good enough insight check. Also, if there will be like, there have been jokes forever or examples of stories, like you said, where someone does like the, I'm dancing in a club, and then a guy comes up behind me and is just like, and then I just make eye contact with a woman across the dance floor, and is just like, and she comes, and now we're friends. And it's like, I don't know how true, again, how many of those stories are, but you hear a ton of them anecdotally. And it's like, again,
I will say this, I actually did have one situation where I used someone else to get out of a conversation. I was on a train ride and I sat like the dinner carts or lunch carts or whatever are kind of interesting because it's kind of like a middle diner cart, and you go and you get your food and you can like sit at one of the tables, which is really nice because if you can get one of the tables, it's like one of the one places you can really stretch out your legs. But the kind of social expectation there is that like if someone else needs a seat, you can kind of share a space with them because
Right.
it's so limited. And I stopped to eat breakfast, and this guy, I will never forget, he just started talking my ear off about like radar technology. It was so random, but you could tell that he was hyper focused. And I tried to be polite like at first, and I was also trying to be genuine and like good faith and like try to wrap my head around radar technology, but unfortunately that just took me in even deeper. And so I was like desperate for an escape. So I saw this guy walk in, and I was like, oh, there's my friend. I gotta go. And I walked over to him and I was like, please pretend to be my friend. I just desperately need to escape this conversation. and he did. He went along with it. But that's probably like the closest. And he wasn't like hitting on me. He was just a nice older man who wanted to yap. So it wasn't like the same thing. I didn't want to be mean, but I did need an out. I could not be there any longer. But okay, let me catch up with some super chats before we get
I'm
into
sorry.
the content.
And then I was thinking
Sorry.
with the whole point of this is like, are the Uggos keeping their hot friend? But it's also like, on some level, but also if you have the hot friend in the group, do you want to know what they are fucking tired of every time they go out? Getting hit on. So probably it might be more of like a damage control, like, hey, leave Cynthia alone. She has men all up in her business every time we go out. And it's not so much we're jealous of her, it's that we're tired of Cynthia bitching about being hit on all the time. So we're gonna keep the dogs away from Cynthia so we can all just have a good time. Leave her alone so we can enjoy ourselves.
You know what's also true is like I you guys know me. I don't like to talk about people's appearances on like a number scale or be like that. I really just don't even like to talk about people's appearances. I think that their minds are far more interesting. But one thing that's objectively true is depending on who you are around in a group, like if you are around people significantly less attractive than you, it tends to make you look even more attractive. Like, I'm sorry, but it is true. Like, this is why we get systems like, well, like I'm a Michigan 7, but a California 4. You know what I mean? Because it's like, there's such a vastly different culture. Like, there are, in between different states even, there are different measures and expectations of aesthetic and beauty and plastic. Here in like rural Michigan, we don't like, we appreciate natural beauty a bit more. But if I was to go to California, yeah, I probably would not be like up to par with all the girls with shaved down cheeks and jaw lines and nose jobs and Botox and filler. Yeah, like I probably would not be able to compete. But it's easier here in Michigan. It's a lot easier. Okay, super chats. Arceon, good to see you. Thank you for the 5. Says, what do you call it when an Eastern European man shows up to a wedding in a tracksuit? The best dressed. I was going to say ready to squat.
Yeah.
Cypher Troll came in on time today. Yeah, you didn't even miss the first topic. We've been steady yapping. Chaos Shadow, generous 10. Thank you. A girl I was trying to date back in 2012 had a friend who would hang out till 3 a.m. in her room each time I slept over. I wished multiple times she'd read the room. Oh man, haven't we had situations like that where like we're like, all right, everybody, it was so great to see you, time to go, and then someone's like sticking around, and we're like,
Yeah, I mean,
talking, and we're like,
oh,
we would like to absolutely ruin each other. Can you just?
yeah, it's like, listen, pal, I know, like we're friends and we want to talk, and like I love it's nothing against you, but like you can't be here for this next part.
You gotta pay extra for that. Sorry. Another one for Arceon says, as someone on the autism spectrum, it's always a little hard to tell when a girl is ready to be approached. My rule is look to see if they look bored. Well,
I mean, what if they?
that could
I
be
guess
something
that's
else.
yes.
I know,
and
it's
no.
so tough. It's so
in
tough.
terms of like,
There are appropriate ways to approach, in my opinion.
there
I
are.
don't think approaching inherently is wrong.
No, but there's
But you have to be able
definitely,
to take an L quickly and expeditiously without fighting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, to me, the approach is like 90% of the time. It's like I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, don't do it. Like, but you know, and this is my thing. What's crazy is the approach. Let's just say it can be something as simple as. Because you and I have talked, and I feel like we've agreed, and you've mentioned on your channel or videos before, like, a lot of times what people want in a partner is someone who's not, like, I don't touch my friends like I touch you, but also...
I would hope to God.
Right. But also, like, that's not how we got to know each other, you know, in that sense anyway, to where it's like, it can be something as approach, doesn't have to be like,
Why, hello, my lady. I noticed that you put your Tchaikovsky's War and Peace down.
and it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, she does not want to be talked to you. But if you're in the book aisle, and I know again, like, meeting someone in a bookstore, of course, that's TJ's example. But it's like, I've never actually met someone in a bookstore. But
And
it's like,
there's so many different ways, too. Like, I mean, you could literally be like, hey, I know you're reading a book. Like, if you ever want to talk, though, like,
yeah, that's weird.
anything.
That would be weird to me, but yeah, you're right.
It
But
might
I'm
be
thinking,
weird,
like,
but I don't know. I don't
there's
think
times
there's wrong
when
with-
the universe, I think, tees things up for you. Like, if you're, and again, I'm using something to where if I were single and I'm like, I don't go anywhere, maybe I'm really shy, and it's like, if I'm in the manga section and I notice there's another lady in the manga section and maybe she's reading something that I've read before or I'm a fan of, it's like, oh dude, I love that series. You've approached, you've breached. If she doesn't talk to you anymore, you're fucking like, and it's like, and you know, it's, you know, just leave it at that. Just smile and nod.
It's best if you can eventually learn to pick up signals, but
Oh
like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is
yeah,
it's
I don't
like,
think an initial approach is bad, but
the universe will tee things up for you to where it's like, look, you have a shared interest. That's what you talk about. It's like, look, they're at a thing that you're both invested in. You know, things that you can be, it's less jarring that way if it's like, oh wow, I love that thing you're reading, or oh wow, I'm really into that podcast that I just have, you know, whatever it might be. And it's like, now it's like
if you're polite, if
you've
you're
humanized
respectful,
yourself to them.
I don't think there's anything wrong with approaching.
I agree. There's nothing wrong with approaching. I'm saying that there's times when the universe is more kind to it, and it might lend itself to being more successful than just like kicking the fucking wall in like the Kool-Aid man, like, oh yeah, here's my number, and then leaving. You can.
Yeah, because there's a lot to be said for like the numbers game of it all, right? Like the more women you approach, the higher your chances are of securing a date. That is an absolute fact, indisputable, but there's also a lot to be said for quantity or quality over quantity.
For 100%.
You know, so it's kind of like,
But that goes back to me saying there's times when the universe will tee things up for you to where it's like the quality you can already filter, you can deduce something. If they're into something I'm into already,
or like better yet, met through a group of friends that you trust already
exactly. That's quality. You've already dropped more beans in that jar.
one filter has already been gone through.
Yeah.
Hammers, thank you for the super chat. Says, one of the reasons I dislike social situations because I'm terrible at figuring out if I'm talking too much. I will absolutely talk someone's ear off about one of my many interests. Yep, it's tough because I know people like that, and I'm like, bless your heart, but I have no interest in yapping this much. But like I said, as long as you're good at like basically taking the L of someone being like, hey, like, sorry, I do have to get going, like, as long as you're not an a-hole about it, it's fine. Like, you know, it's fine because I can be that way too. I can also be a yapaholic, and sometimes people are like, I just gotta go, and I'm like, totally get it. You know what I mean? That's all it takes, in my opinion. Zomg says, right, so that's how people hot like TJ does it. How do the rest of us do it? I know. TJ is freakishly hot, so it is kind of an unfair advantage. I might be a bit biased. So, let's get into the video, shall we? I thought I was a formatting queen, but alas. There we go. So, this guy has a couple videos where he kind of, like I said, records this phenomenon where he attempts to approach women in a group setting, which, by the way, there have been studies on this, and you will be a lot less successful, numbers-wise, approaching a woman if she is with a group of friends than alone. So, just a fun fact, he's already kind of playing on hard mode. Let's see how it goes for him, chat.
Excuse me. Listen, I have a question. I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, no, it's just not that kind
Okay. Excuse me, guys. I have.
Okay. So video 1, he approaches a girl at the beach and he says, hey, I have a question. He starts to say, I think you're beautiful. What's your name? Like I said, I don't necessarily think this alone is the worst possible thing. You can call it annoying, but it's a pretty neutral social interaction, shooting your shot, right? But as he approaches her, her friend to the right or the left, depending on what side you're on of hers, immediately goes to this entire interaction. And the friend actually goes, I'm so sorry. That was not okay. Like, even if she was not interested in him, even she was not. This is one of those situations where clearly there was not a predetermined social contract between the two, where she is like, I'm so sick of getting hit on. Can you please, like, help sway these men away if they approach me? Because she was kind of shocked by that behavior as well. Next situation.
I have to confess something. I think you're gorgeous. What's your name?
of. I don't think she wants to talk to you.
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
You're interrupting us.
Next time I'll just come with a donut.
Okay, so that was a bit immature. He approaches the next girl and he just gives her a compliment. You could call this catcalling. Kind of definition of catcalling. When I recommend how to approach women, like TJ and I agree, it's best to approach respectfully, politely, without too much of an agenda, if that makes sense. In my opinion, when you start off with lines that are just only about her body, it's fair for her to infer that that's really all you're interested in, right? That's kind of not going to work great for you most of the time. Again, it's a numbers game, so if you do it a bunch, you will have some success from a purely pickup artist standpoint. But if you're looking for genuine connection, I don't know if that's going to be the best one for you. So in this situation, he approaches the next girl, says, you're gorgeous. She does kind of smile a bit, but it's hard to tell if she's impressed by him paying a compliment or kind of like bemused from an annoyed standpoint. She never lets down her like crossed arms demeanor, I think. Maybe we can go back and watch it again. But Again, her friend immediately sticks up for her, plays defense for her, and offense as well. I didn't like his comment about like making fun of her weight or whatever. That seemed pretty out of line, but moving along.
Excuse me, I had to confess something. I think you're gorgeous.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, she is. I've had a boyfriend for like 5 years.
Oh no, that's okay. I was talking to her, not you. I know you have a boyfriend.
No, I'm letting you know she has a boyfriend.
Oh, but she can talk for herself.
I'm reiterating what she just fucking said.
All right, relax. You don't get that. You don't get to talk, okay? You're too.
No, I absolutely do.
You already look big enough. Don't talk big too.
Okay, so he's pretty much trolling at this point. It's... And I'm sure people love this. I'm sure people find his trolling here hilarious. But at the same time, he wouldn't really have the ability to get away with this trolling if there was not a pattern for him to play off of. Now, is the pattern wrong? Is the ultimate question, right? Like, for example, if my whole method was I'm going to walk up to people at a restaurant and take their drink and start drinking it, and we're going to see if there's a pattern of people getting really pissed and yelling at me, it would stand to reason that because I'm taking a drink that they paid for and were expecting to drink for themselves, that they would have similar reactions of annoyance and upset, right? So in a situation where you're consistently approaching groups of women, interrupting their conversations and social setting that they've arranged for themselves to essentially hit on one of their friends, would you say that these people should kind of expect to be shooed away by the masses? Do you think that that's a fair expectation, or do you think that it's wrong that this behavior has developed as the norm? Mull that over. I have one more series of videos from this guy to kind of seal the deal on what he's got going on here. This one's called Aura Farming. Get rid of that.
I really like your outfit, honestly.
Thank you.
What's your name?
I'm Lilia.
I'm Dan. Nice to meet you. Oh, you also have a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania? Can I grab your Instagram? You look like you're in a hurry.
Sure, yeah. You said you have your Instagram. You have a boyfriend.
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
I do, but...
She has a boyfriend, that's fine. But okay, but how are you gonna let her boyfriend stop her from finding a future husband?
Oh! Damn! You're confident. Jeez. Okay.
So that one went crazy, actually. This is what I mean by the numbers game. The numbers game is not how you're going to find wife material, okay? Not necessarily. I mean, you might actually. The numbers game, it's so random what you're going to get. You could potentially get a wife from it. Or you could get into a situation like this. He walks up to this girl doing what he does to all of the ladies. Like, there's really no hard work that he's putting in here. I mean, I think that the hardest part is learning the trick of being able to approach women itself. I think that we can probably all agree, whether you're a man, a woman, you identify as something else, like, we can probably all agree that, like, approaching a random woman is hard. It's tricky. You're probably going to get anxiety. You're probably, going to have to conquer a bit of fear or anticipation to even approach a random woman for any reason, even if it's not in hopes of securing a date. So TJ says he gets nervous hitting on me sometimes. Yeah, I mean, He's already developed the trick. It's kind of like, you know, it takes a while to learn how to do a handstand, but once you learn how to do a handstand, you're doing that in front of everybody all the time. You are shoehorning in opportunities to show off your handstand. Like, he's got this down to a science. He has no issues at this point approaching women and asking for their information. So he just is on autopilot. He just goes and does it to everybody, and once in a while you get results like this. He approaches this girl, asks for her information, she starts giving it to him, and her friend has to remind her that she has a boyfriend. Like, I mean, W friend, like, good job the friend. I'm sure she's more of a friend of the boyfriend at this point. But, you know, this girl may have had a few drinks in her, and so she's kind of like, honey, like, no, you can't do that. Like, don't listen to Jack Daniels right now. Like, you listen to the monogamy that you promised another man. And yet, the guy, he just railroads her, and he's just like, why would you stop her from finding her future husband? The meme that, like, women always share with each other. And she folds instantly. She's like, you know, you're right. And literally high fives the dude. Drunk, very taken friend puts her number in some random dude's phone. You know, I don't even know what to think about that one. You know, like, in these situations, it might be a good idea to have a friend who C-blocks you, so to say, right? Like, if someone's actually inebriated, you know, then they're not really in any kind of headspace to be consenting to giving their phone number away to random guys, much less like going home with them, God forbid. You know, like, drunk guys, you don't have any business sleeping with random women or giving your number out to random women either. If you would like a litany of reasons why, I'm sure chat will start posting their own horror stories expeditiously. And given the context, I would like to stress, I did say horror. They're not sharing their horror stories, but you know what? If the shoe fits. I know I missed at least one super chat, so let me scroll up a bit. Okay, I think I caught all of these ones. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other ones. I'm ignoring Phil's. Okay. Arceon says, I swear running clubs are IRL dating apps. If you want to meet someone special, hobby groups are goated. Also, donkeys are ugly horses. Donkeys are cute. Have you ever seen a Z-donk when they mix zebras with donkeys? They have, like, super long eyelashes. Like, who's your technician, girl? But yeah, that's what I hear about running clubs. But another thing you should know about co-ed athletic groups, or probably like any co-ed hobby groups, is there's gonna be the people who find legitimate, awesome relationships out of it. We see that all the time. But then there's also gonna be the bunnies of every group, or the man whores of every group. And so you gotta watch out for them. Like, this is why if you are going to join these kinds of groups, you have to be very, very careful to not, like, shit everywhere that you're eating. Because if you join a group and you immediately sleep with 3 different people from the group, you can argue that your reputation shouldn't be affected by that. It will be. It will be. You have no control or choice. Your idealistic feelings that people shouldn't judge you on that don't matter. They will. You will be known as one of those, unfortunately. So you gotta be careful. Zomg says the line between confidence and jerkish is thin. Yeah, like, I love warranted, humble confidence, but I don't like that entitled attitude, you know? So, looking at this situation, this guy walking around conducting this social experiment to see how often when women are approached by a man, they will be expeditiously cock-blocked by their other friends around them. Seems to have proven his point. He seems to have demonstrated clearly that there's a very high opportunity for it, even if you can occasionally bypass that security feature with extra riz. Yeah, if you approach a woman in a group, it appears there is a firewall. Yes, you can break through it, but there will be goalies when you shoot for the net. Okay? But just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score. Hey! Am I right, everybody? Cheering sound behind me, editor. What do you guys think about this phenomenon? Like I asked in the beginning, do you think that this is a fair social standard? Do you think that it absolutely makes sense that women should be kind of making it a little bit more on hard mode for guys to feel like they can just come right in and pick up their friends? Or do you think that these girls need to respect each other's autonomy more, right? Like, as we've seen in some of the situations we saw when a woman instantly got in front of her friend and was like, hey, leave her alone, and the one friend even apologized for her behavior. Do they deserve more of a say to stick up for themselves before we intervene? Or is this a safety measure that is probably going to relieve a lot more women of grief than it is prevent a woman from finding her soulmate? TJ card activated?
Sounds like a skill issue, fellas.
Sounds
I
like
don't know
a
what to
skill
tell
issue.
you. It's there's plenty of dudes who aren't what someone might consider traditionally attractive, who figured it out. They figured it out. And I believe in you, fellas. I believe in you.
I mean, that's true.
You all think this is just a pretty face, but it's like behind the mask. There's a lot of work needs to be done. It is a lovely calamity behind this mask, and so it's like I'm by no means I guess what I'm trying to say that is,
let me get that fill out of your face real quick.
Is
we can just ignore him anyway.
Please. Yeah, but it's
Love you, Phil.
It doesn't matter how attractive a person is if you just they figured it out. I figured it out. You have to accept taking an L, and if people are like, well, I'm afraid she's gonna say no, then you're never going to start the race. Then you're going to be like, well, I never win races. And it's like, it's because you stand at the fucking start line when the gun goes off and everyone else is zippity-doo-down. Even the person who, is the last person to cross that line is still beating you because you're not even crossing the starting line. And as more and more of the internet as more and more of the world is being exposed to us through the internet, and we're seeing that the sort of 90s, early 2000s standard of oh, the hot guy gets the hot girl. That ain't it. Because women and men collectively, after that, skinny Coke chic, whatever it was in the 90s, 2000s, kind of broke. People were like, oh, I remember there being an active kind of once everybody kind of looked around and they were like, chubby people are attractive, right? Chubby people are attractive. And the push for women to be chubby dudes are hot, publicly, outwardly publicly. I remember being good. I remember being because I've had plenty of friends who are overweight, but they're still an attractive person, and I'm I know from speaking to them, at least before they've gotten in relationships since then, and they didn't lose weight. They just found someone who was I like him fluffy. It's they were still an attractive person, but you could see they didn't believe they were an attractive person. And it's they didn't believe they were worth anybody's time. So why would anybody else think that you're worth their fucking time? You know, and it was like, man.
How did we get on that?
I'm just saying, believe in yourself. I think women, I think that for ladies to do this, it's 100% fair because statistically, they don't know if you're one of the safe ones. I don't know how else to say it. Statistically, they have to err on the side of caution and they're being a good friend if they're making it a hard chase. I don't know how else to say it. Because also if you're playful about it, if you're like, okay, and you're not like a dick about it and you even josh around with the friends who are giving you a hard time, that's another filter that you can pass. But it's like, if you're immediately going to be like, oh, why do women do this? It's like, sounds like you just give up too easily. Sounds like you are taking the L and then going home and moping about it. It's like, I think women are warranted, especially if we look at the grand scheme of human history. When a man approaches a woman, statistically, she's, I'm in danger. Like, realistically, if a man approaches a woman and she has no one there to protect her, statistically, you have to assume the worst. I hate to say it that way, sadistically. Yeah, but it's like, I think...
It depends on the context.
It depends on the context, but I'm
like,
saying...
We're also at a point in our social zeitgeist where, like, we have situations, for example, like that woman in the Target parking lot where a man, like, approached her in the parking lot to say something to her, but before he could even tell her, like, your gas can door is open or something, she just started screaming at the top of her lungs, like, do not approach me, I don't feel safe. And people were like, what the fuck?
Yes, no, 100%. There are some people who definitely take it too far, but I think, like, the idea that if a girl is out with a group of girls, they're gonna be furta. Like, don't think anything otherwise. And it's the same thing, like, I need you to imagine that you are a solo male lion approaching a group of lionesses. Like, they will kill you. They will kill you. And I think it's like just respecting that. And it's like, if they're like aggressively like, stay away from us, just respect that. They are absolutely allowed to go out and have a good time, because again, they don't know if you approaching them, if you're going to be a cool person, like, yeah, or the minute that they say, no, I'm actually just want to hang out with my friends, you're not going to be like, fuck you, you stupid bitch. Like, because statistically, that's way more likely than I think any of us want to admit, that would be the guy who is approaching them. And so they're just playing it safe. And you can't argue, we can't be upset with them for playing it safe and being furta. I would hope that my kids' friends, both male and female, have a group of friends who are like, I pray that if I could like teenage up all like my daughter and her friends right now, if they were out, that I'm not going to use any of their names, but like I'm picturing the ones in my head who are like no bullshit, and just they're also like a foot taller than our daughter, so I can just imagine like someone coming up and trying to flirt with her and her being like no, and it's like, great, thank you, I'm glad you're here, I'm glad you are here. Because, like, we can't always be there, and the last thing you want is your dad over your shoulder all the time. It's like, what? I just think that it's a fair expectation. I think it's a fair expectation on my whole 5-minute tangent that I came in here for. I think it's a very fair expectation. And you should be prepared for it as someone pursuing a woman, be you man or woman.
Well, all right. That was TJ's answer to the question.
It is tough not to take it personally. I agree. But that's part of the mental training. That's part of the quote unquote skill issue. It took me like into my mid to late 20s to be over myself enough to be like, you know what, if I get rejected, that's fine. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that's exactly why this guy has so much confidence, just approaching woman after woman after woman after woman, no matter what, no matter the setting, no matter the time of day, is because he's taken so many L's. This dude has probably faced like 1,000 rejections at this point. We've just watched him face 4. Well, actually, no, the last one. He did get the dub, actually. He did get the dub, but it was a drunken dub. So I'm not sure if we can count that one. But like, I will also say the rejections that we did see were not that bad.
No, see, here's your problem, SVR. In dating, you shouldn't take tough personally. They're not dating. they're not dating.
Well, he just means in attempts to date.
I know, but it's
that's
like,
the
but like, if
technicality.
people are dating, yes, take it personally because you have made an emotional commitment to each other.
You and SVR literally agree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, that's what he's trying to say. Like, in the realm
Oh,
of
in the
dating,
realm. I thought you were talking about when you're dating somebody, and I'm like, no, I
got
think
you.
that's actually when you should take it personally. Like, if a stranger on the street says "fuck you," I'm like, cool. But like, if you were like "fuck you," I'd be like, oh. Okay.
That's how you know you made me mad.
Mhm.
That's how, if I'm saying F you to my husband, he done. I think the only times I've really ever said you to you is like, if it's like an argument or like, not an argument, like something crazy just happened. Like if you're like, I don't know, when you're like K-pop Demon Hunters just went platinum and I'm like, "F you, you're kidding me." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's probably like the main time when I would ever say it. But yeah, YouTube ads are getting a lot more annoying, I will say. That's on every channel, guys. You'll hear every YouTuber talking about that. But
I just think that if you see, you know the situation, if you see she's out with her group of friends.
yeah,
So
if you ever interrupt any group,
you
of
just
people,
know that it's hard. You just assume it's hard mode. Don't be surprised, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't act brand new. That's my thing. Don't act brand new.
Yeah. I think that's probably the popular opinion is these ladies are not necessarily wrong for giving this guy a bit of grief, right? Because again, he is interrupting a social function for his own gain, and that does warrant a considerable level of scrutiny, a considerable amount of what the fuck are you doing here, right? I mean, let's imagine a world where women are trying to shoot their shot, which I've said this a good few times. That's the world we're in right now. If women want a high value man that is like to their own standard, they have to approach them. That's where we're at right now. Okay, because men are not approaching like they used to. They're just fine on their own, which we shouldn't be shaming them for because they're actually enjoying it. They're enjoying it as much as women are enjoying being single. So I don't understand why we're like shaming men for being single when it's like this empowering, enlightening thing for women. My husband is apparently having lots
I just
of
thought of
opinions.
one more thing because I'm like, I was just thinking of when I was in Traverse City and I was at that bar with that guy who I had like just met, and I was like, I'm getting tired of standing, and there was a table of 3 like ladies over there, and I just very much approached and I was like, hey, do you mind? I'm here with my friend drinking. There's nowhere for us. You guys will only take up half the table. We totally won't even bother you. And they're like, sure. And we sat, and then because I had my engagement ring on, they're like, oh, are you engaged or are you married? And I'm like, well, not yet. We're getting married. And then suddenly it's like he became safer because he was there with a guy that was gushing about his fiance. Like, look at this. That was the moment where one of the people we sat with up in Traverse City went to school with Jay Craig. Do you remember him talking about that? They were like, I went to Kalamazoo. I'm like, this is going to be really weird. Do you know a guy named Jonathan Craig? And she was like, oh my God, I graduated with him. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me?
He is the kind of guy that would know everybody.
But because at Christmas that year, he's like, dude, somebody that I went to school with ran into you because you were in Traverse City for earning. I'm like, oh my God. Best part about that story, he told me she ended up dating the guy I was at the bar with that night because of how they met through us.
Oh,
Which
wow.
again, it's like, there's that, it's like, I guess
there are organic opportunities.
There's organic
to approach,
opportunities.
and then there's annoying.
But it's
approaches.
also, I think, part of why he found success is because he had his group. I was just thinking about this when I stepped out of the room of, well, that's an approach story, but it worked
like a
because
group of guys approaching a group of girls.
Exactly,
is
there's safety.
A little bit
there's
different.
safety in it, and that's the thing. Is it's like if he's a solo dude and you're just walking around as a solo dude, no group, that is kind of creepy approaching women out in public for no reason. But if you're with your friends and then you're like, oh, dude, I'm gonna go talk to her real quick. You're way less threatening because you are seen as a socially acceptable person because you have friends. But if
Do you
you're
guys
just,
hear that? I did it again. I made another match because TJ was someone's wingman, but I put the ring on his finger.
That's
I was.
That's so funny, dude. That's hilarious.
What can I say?
But it
Gotta
and
count.
it is that idea of having the social lubricant of not alcohol, a friend, someone there who immediately their presence is vouching for your character.
I mean, yeah, that's how I ended up with TJ. Was we met through mutual friends. I wasn't interested in dating at all, but like my friend was like, "You should talk to this guy because he really likes you," and I was like, "He's a dad," and she was like, "Yeah, but isn't his kid so cute?" Like the power of a wingman cannot be understated.
It cannot be. It's so true though. It's like you can be a good friend, and it's like, and then they're there to just do this when you get rejected. It's okay. Come on, let's go.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like, and now you don't have
that's true.
You can
It helps with the failure part, or not the failure, the rejection part. Like, it's a lot easier to take an L when you have a friend. Like, it's kind of like in high school. Did you ever, like, have one of your best friends in a class with you, and then it made you 10 times more annoying? You know what I mean? Because you have your friend and you just feel like on top, you're invincible at that point. No one could mess with you because you were there with your best friend. Wait, let me see. Lauren, are you saying TJ never married the woman? He had the kid. You're the stepmom too. Correct.
She only one kid.
I am the first wife. There is a rumor on Reddit about me.
Wife.
There's a rumor on Reddit that I was the other woman during his marriage with his ex, and that he left his ex-wife for me. But I literally met him 5 years after they broke up, and they were never married.
We were never married.
And she was literally dating someone else.
Yeah, like ever.
But you know, Reddit.
Yeah, she's my son. We tell our son that it was our wedding, all three of ours.
It was.
Yeah, it was. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, not like we're tricking him. I agree with him 100%. But that was like
best wingman is opposite sex. I do agree. I have to concede. Yes. True.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that your wingman in our situation was my friend Amanda. So yeah, that worked. Hammer said stealing TJ's matchmaking prowess.
You mean being a good friend? No, I'm kidding. Thank you. Yeah, no, use it. Use that super secret trick.
Reddit rumors. Reddit is gonna Reddit.
Lotus Eater, thank you for adding the U. I too use the UK spelling for a lot of my stuff. And I've had people call me out for it.
Oh, in the super chat. Wait.
He said rumor.
Oh, rumor.
It's rumor.
What? You know what's so funny is TJ is the first person to get mad when someone mispronounces something, but then he's the first person to facetiously mispronounce.
When you facetiously do it, it's funny. When people facetiously do it, it's funny.
But I'm like, it has the same end result though. So like, why does it bother you when someone accidentally does it, but you're doing it on purpose? Because it's worse when you do it on purpose. They just haven't been corrected yet. They're just
because I'm usually trying to correct people when they're trying to make a point. It's like if someone's gonna try and sound like they're getting a one-up on someone, it's like you better come correct with how to say things. And there are some things where I do think that
we're gonna fight on camera right now. I just
no. There's some.
I vehemently disagree.
I saw somebody make a great point that there was like this, like there were people who were the grammar police, but then there were people who like pushed back and were like, "Stop it! People are allowed to talk the way they want to talk." But then they said it passed a threshold to where it has started to contribute to like that the rise in anti-intellectualism and the literal like literacy problem we have in America, because the standard has now become, oh, you can just it doesn't matter, when it's like it matters up to a point.
But
like
mispronouncing something has nothing to do with the literacy problem. It's actually a sign that they probably have been reading, because the most likely reason that someone is mispronouncing something is because they've only seen it read and they've never heard it spoken.
Okay, but again, back to my thing, and again, I've admitted that I used to be way too hard on the correct way to speak, but I don't think the answer is people just speak the way they speak. I think that there is a correct way to speak English, not like, well, you must use your maze and can and this and that. Like, there's certain things that it's like, I think you should have, like, as an adult, 12th grade, right there. That's where, like, your understanding should be. And again, mispronounce things. up to a point. And then the reason I think it's funny when people purposefully do it is because it's like I'm making fun of it to myself. It's like when I do my Goofy voice saying French things. It's like I'm making fun of Goofy saying French and not like the French language. But also,
and I don't think it's wrong that you do that. I just find it very ironic.
Oh no, 100%. It's definitely. But it's like, you know me, I'm a language person. I love dialects. I love, oh, you say it like this here. We say this over here for that. So obviously, I'm not going to be like, well, the proper Oxford English way to say it. It's like I speak. One of my favorite lines from an old movie, The Fifth Element, is when he's like, I speak 2 languages, English and bad English. And it's like, yes, but those are 2 different languages. But, you know, that's, yeah, pronunciation. It always makes me think of Ted from How I Met Your Mother, when he's like, chameleon. Yes, you need to try and think of the elegant chameleon and how they are able to adapt to all of their different environments. And then eventually a student's like, are you saying chameleon? And then he's like, I had only read it! Like it swipe fades to them in the...
I've had so many moments like that. Hypomanic
Yins! Yes! Oh man, I was trying to tell her about Yins.
Yins need to stop. Oh, I thought that said you. I just read it really quick.
No, Yins. But Yins is a regional version of y'all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's cool that other people use that. I'm probably never going to pick that.
Never. You
Hannah
don't have to.
Says, some of us just talk funny, bud. Figure it out. Yeah.
You can talk funny. I talk funny. We all talk funny.
Yeah. I too used to be a grammar Nazi, but this was like back when I was like in middle school and going through my absolute most terribly awkward phase, and I still couldn't say my R's. So not only was I ugly and not able to articulate myself well in speech, but both of those things. So I basically would just like refer to like being really smart online and like correcting people's grammar in online debates for a while. And then I heard the argument and I was like, yeah, that was definitely coming from a place of like insecurity and needing to be superior in something. And so being able to like acknowledge that in myself, like now it does make me also question it more and like, what is the reason that other people are doing this? Because I like, whenever people are in the middle of a debate, for example, and someone, instead of acknowledging the point, just like corrects their spelling, I'm like, okay, so you've lost. Like if you're able to understand what they're saying and you're choosing to focus on a typo or whatever instead of the point.
Now, here's my thing though, is I think you can make a point, but if someone is trying to come in with a holier than thou attitude and then they do that, it's like
spelling, then yeah.
Not even about spelling. If you're trying to be like, well, I'm actually here with the higher intellectual point, I think you need to chip away at it. It's like the person that we were talking about this morning, like hit the ego however you can hit the ego.
Well, I still disagree because there's so many different ways of being smart.
No,
I don't think that's...
Well, I'm saying if you're going to come in with an argument like you know better, but then you're going to do stuff...
You can know better and still spell terribly.
That's fine, but I think if you're going to, especially if you're saying incendiary things... That's also where I'm thinking of.
Yeah, of course. Like if
those are all the examples that I'm thinking of.
There's a lot that's like off the table at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, like me, for example, one thing that I think I've
Jeff
been...
Smith. That's where I'm at with it.
What?
I sometimes correct people about spelling just to trigger them when they're being hateful.
Oh yeah, like if it's just to trigger an emotional response.
For sure.
But yeah, like me, for example, I think I've been pretty honest in finding out that I like literally have brain damage. And probably have for quite some time, but I have scarring on my hippocampal region of my brain, which affects language, memory, sense of directions, for example. So like, don't ever ask me for directions. But one way that kind of manifests itself is there are often times where I'm speaking and I'll keep saying a word that is not the correct word, but I know what I'm trying to say. And usually we can figure out, or if I'm typing, I'll often type the wrong word that's very close. And I have to edit myself very often. This is something that happens to me, but I still consider myself an incredibly smart, articulate person. But it's just like my brain literally has damage. So like I'm going to spell things wrong. And if I'm making a point that is sound and articulate, but I happen to spell something wrong, and my opponent completely does not engage with what I'm saying and corrects my spelling, I'm gonna be like, okay, so you're just not even good faith. like this isn't, you're not even, you're just trying to get any kind of gotcha you can at this point. SVR says, my hovercraft is full of eels. Yeah, and it's just fallacious too, because the spelling doesn't, my bad spelling does not invalidate whatever thing I'm trying to say at all. Hypomanic says, Yins is Western Pennsylvanian, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Yin's weird. That A was the Canadian one. Oh, did I wrong A you? Tomato, tomato. As it would appear if you typed it. All right, let's move on to our next topic. There's this argument I wanted to show with you guys, an argument between a couple, as you've just witnessed. I've got another one for you. This, as well, is a long-term couple. They've been together for a while, and this woman has posted a debate that they have chosen to have. And I think the comments are quite divided. So without further context, I am going to show you this video and you will make your determinations on your own. Text overlay reads, my boyfriend's crashing out again. It's 11:47 p.m. It's a little late for these shenanigans. She asks in the caption, am I wrong? Hashtag manchild, relatable, therapy, explore.
Cutting that wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm cutting how much I want.
But that's not how you cut a pizza.
What? I can cut a pizza how I want in my house.
Okay, well,
I just want this corner. That's all I want.
I know, but what about me?
You cut your own pizza.
You're literally holding
You're an
the
adult.
knife.
You cut the pizza.
Oh my god, can you put the knife down while you're talking to me like that?
But then I can't finish cutting the pizza. Why is this oven so loud? Why did you get literally the loudest oven in the Home Depot? This is the last time I let you pick out an oven. Next time I get an oven, it's gonna make pizzas on its own. It's gonna cut them. Then we can be happy, okay? We'll never have this problem with cutting how much pizza.
Can you turn the timer off, please? At least you're over there.
I don't know how.
Oh my god, you're literally an adult man.
How do I do that?
The beeping is driving me crazy.
There's too many buttons on this oven. Next time, get an oven with one button. Can you do that for me?
What, like an easy bake oven?
I don't care. You figure it out. You're the adult here.
You're cutting that wrong.
No.
All right, I don't know if I'm gonna. There is a right and wrong way to cut a pizza. I don't know how else to say that. Like
Yeah,
as soon as she's
audio
like,
only
"You're cutting
for
it
you."
wrong," I'm like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" And then it pans over and it's like a pizza. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm gonna have an opinion on this." And he's
Audio only
like,
for
"I
you.
just want this one fucking quarter over here."
He's holding, you know better what type of knife. I was gonna say steak knife, but I don't even think, it might have been a boning knife even. Like, it did not look, what kind of knife was that? Do you want me to go back?
I can go get our knife that is like that, but
Yeah, I'm gonna turn the volume off and I'm just gonna kind of describe to the audio only crew. They're in the kitchen. He has made a pizza in the oven and he's cutting it with like,
that might be the right kind of knife, because it looks like a bread knife. It looks like it's flat with serrations.
isn't it a bread knife like a little bit like longer and like
It
not
depends.
as, it looks like long in
But
the
I mean,
back.
that looks like it would be like almost like
It
a
looks like
pizza
a mix between a steak, like a steak knife and like
a veggie cutting knife.
Yeah.
Like really you want a mezzaluna, but it's like. But yeah, that I also thought that knife looks too short. So this. Oh man, here.
It's a chef knife.
Can I use this, or are you?
Oh no, yeah, that's all good. If we need to use the diagram.
Dude, this is gonna kill. I can't believe he's doing this.
Oh, he's so upset about this.
Dude, this used to be my job.
I need to show you guys the comments on this one, by the way, because this is
I have
something I was not
opinions.
expecting. I was expecting, like, may this love never find me, divorce babes, divorce. But in fact, we have a she's the problem button, liked by 10,000 people. He's right button, liked by almost 12,000 people. She's so passive aggressive, liked by 7,400 people. Is he a little aggressive? Yes. Are you annoying as hell? Also, yes.
Are these men? It sounds like men. Dude.
So far, men, Rusty Little Truck might. No, it's Andrew. Here's a woman. You're fighting for your life in the comments. Should have just left him alone instead of antagonizing him. Miss Rochi says, as you said, he's an adult man. Let him cut the damn pizza however he wants. It truly doesn't matter.
No.
Another woman says, I don't understand why she's getting so much hate. Did I just watch the same video? He looked like he was having a tantrum and she remained calm, not antagonizing. So there you go.
Yeah, thank you.
We finally got one. We finally got one.
It's fine. It's fine.
Your girlfriend complains too much. You could also just not micromanage him and let him cut it however he wants. Does it really matter that much? Another woman says, girl, you're actually the damn problem. He's overstimulated and she's filming him for views. You're the reason he's crashing out and you know it. And then a very neutral opinion. I don't know. Adults who love each other don't interact like this. Which some adults who love each other actually are like that 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like,
all right.
It's not for me, but some people.
You got your pizza.
I'm gonna try to scoot back so that I'm not.
So what I'm hearing is he's like, I got my
I'll make it
pizza.
up.
And he's just trying to haphazardly, like, cut a quarter out of it. What if this is his quarter? What if this is his quarter? And then what? She's got this little fuck off piece down here. Like, listen, dude, if you're gonna cut a pizza, cut it properly. Do it once. Like a fucking man. Stop crying like a child. Holy fuck. I have never seen such, like, outside of current politicians, I have never seen a full-grown man throw such a childish fucking tantrum. It is a baked pie. Cut down once, cut across once. A fucking plus sign. That's 2 cuts, you lepton. Now you got a whole quarter for yourself, and she can do the rest of the correct cutting. You cut this in half, and then you cut that in half, and now you have equal pieces for everybody. You're one of those fuckers who used to get, like, the pizza pie, and then you would cut, like, a piece out here, and be like, that's my piece of the pie, I'm gonna cut it how I want to fucking cut it. You're a man-child. You should be ashamed of yourself that a pie made you have this breakdown, dude. She's literally trying to be like, I would like some pizza too. Please don't cut it like a fucking twat. And you're like, the beeping, it's so hard. I need one button. Dude, I'm going to venture to wager that you can't find the one button she would love you to find. So here, cut it down once and across over, because very simple instructions are all that you can follow. Holy fucking shit. She's asking you such a simple thing. And, oh my god, every woman who has ever complained about weaponized incompetence, like, this video should be your holy grail. He's like, he literally turns to him and is like, I can't. You do it. Are you fucking kidding me? And you're an adult man? You're an adult man? You should not be allowed to hold sharp objects. You should have to only be able to hold crayons that are this fucking thick and, like, have giant pieces of, like, newsprint paper that you can, like, hand paint on. Because, holy fucking shit, that is one of the most aggravating, like, I hate, what is it, the incompetence, the weaponized incompetence. Wow! Like, I have never so quickly changed my mind of, you know what, they might be onto fucking something. When an adult man has a fucking crash out because he can't be bothered to checks notes, make 2 cuts. Cause now it sounds like he's actually struggling to figure out how to fucking do this. Cut it in half. Cut it in half. That's how you get a quarter. Holy shit, dude. God damn, that's a level of, like, adult male incompetence that it's like, I'm with the girls on this one.
Babe, the oven was loud.
The what?
The oven
was loud, you're right.
She should not have picked out that oven.
But it's not, I'm not throwing a man
oven that cuts pizza.
Over cutting a pie. It's about literally everything around the pizza.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's a
Jesus, that's so aggravating. It's like,
I will say this. Based a lot on TJ's response, but also based on like historical precedent, like patterns we've seen online. I'm surprised that this hit the algorithm that it did. Aren't you guys equally surprised that it wasn't just like divorce babe just divorce, like this is abuse, weaponized incompetence, like may this love never find me? Like I'm really surprised that it somehow turned around at the exact opposite side. Or do you think that that is the popular opinion and TJ is the one with the unique outlying opinion? Because Katie's saying a woman, I think, I'm assuming, based on what I'm seeing, says, I have a feeling it wasn't about the pizza. What I think a lot of people are inferring from this video, based on everything that we're seeing, and especially based on the fact that this woman's got a recording phone in this dude's face, which we've talked about a lot. Like, someone filming you is always going to make the situation both so much weirder and so much more hostile and aggressive, unless it's like a funny situation, right? Or a normal like family time situation. But if you're like really confronting each other in the middle of like a beef or a high stress, high conflict situation, pulling a phone out is not going to help.
No.
So I think that what people are kind of inferring here is like, yeah, it looks like he's crashing out, or is this just reactive abuse because you have a constant pattern of nitpicking and then filming his crash outs when you nitpick?
And that could be it. But that's not what I got to see exemplified here.
Right, like it definitely made it worse, right? Like like his presentation looks bad. Like I think a lot of times that's what it's either reactive abuse or a temper tantrum, and unfortunately they both oftentimes look the same.
And my problem is I'm sitting here going, and I will say this, it's mostly a male roommate problem. Any female roommate I've ever had seems to have been thoughtful on how they make sure everybody can have some food. It's like I've just seen like male roommates come in and just like take it how they want, not fucking thinking about it. It's like you've now made this harder for everybody else that wants to participate because you wanted to be selfish about something. I've been guilty of that.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of that. To where it's like, oh, it's on you now. Okay. It's like I can to where I was on her side when it was what about me? And he was like, I don't fucking care, I just want this. I'm like, well, I don't even really care if she's nagging you now, because you have shown zero grace. Like, if she's nagging you, that doesn't give you then the permission. You've now stooped to her level, and you're a big aggressive man. Like she said, you're holding a knife. And then the minute when he like turned to the stove and was like, you do it, I'm like, oh, bro, you're what?
There's a lot of elements to this because like if bro has had a long exhausting day and he's starving, he's so hangry, he has been looking forward to this so much, has been stressing him out, his cortisol levels are already through the roof, like he's already just sick of everything. Like he's got a big old German shepherd, you know how annoying walking those dogs is. Like he's just stressed the fuck out and all he wants is this freaking midnight pizza and then he can just go to bed. And if you look, it even looks like he's also already thought about her because there seems to be 2 drinks made. So he was literally getting everything ready, it looks like, to like serve her and be like, all right, let's just sit down, eat the pizza, have some drinks. And then she comes in like, why are you cutting it like that? And he's like, Jesus fucking Christ, I can cut it however I want. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that might have been his last straw. And when she's like, but what about me? Like, I don't understand how he can't cut you an adequate piece with what he has. I don't know why he's not using a pizza cutter. That piece is never explained to us. Maybe the pizza cutter is dirty because he's just been living off pizza recently. Maybe he can't find the pizza cutter. Maybe they don't have a pizza cutter. Maybe the pizza cutter broke recently and they haven't bought a new one recently. This knife will get the job done. And I'm just like, if it's that situation exactly where he was already at the boiling point and he was already trying to do everything right, And then she's like, ew, why are you cutting it like that? Like, there have been times where that's all I needed to just, the dams are broken, the levee has been destroyed, and I'm like, oh my fucking god. Like, you've probably seen me get there before. My favorite was, there was one day that I was so overstimulated, and I reached for our, like, basket of different kinds of chips, or maybe it was, like, cereal. I think it was both, and it just knocked everything over. Like, every bag of chips, the cereal fell on the floor, and it was all over, and I just looked at it, and I was just so exhausted. I was like, that's a future me problem. And I just walked away. I could not. I could not, and bless this man's heart. He stayed up and cleaned it all because he could see how freaking overstimulated I was. And I didn't, like, crash out. Like, it wasn't like he felt guilted into doing it because I was, like, throwing a temper tantrum. I was so calm about it. I just looked at it and I was like, not today. Nope. And I had to walk away, and I never do that. Now, the extension of his crash out is, of course, like, next time we get an oven, I'm getting one that cuts the pizza for you. Like, he wasn't being serious.
Right.
But he was very over it. He was very over it. Like, and I don't know if this couple tends to just troll each other regularly.
Maybe
and
they
this
do
is part of the shtick. But I had to ask you guys what you think about it, because obviously there's some very different opinions. You could either be like TJ and be like, holy crap, dude, like, this was not the thing to crash out this hard over. Or you could be like the comment section and be like, girl, have you ever stopped to think you're the problem? Or do you think it's somewhere in between? Like, she's clearly pushing his buttons. There's no need for him to cut the pizza with the exact tool you need him to cut the pizza with. You're making a big deal out of it, but also so is he. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about this situation? I honestly think you just need to gender swap the situation. Yeah, let's definitely do that. So let's imagine a guy. Yeah, I know exactly how this would go. A guy, but it would probably go the exact same way as this.
Oh my god, you stupid woman. You cut the pizza like this, down this way, and across this way. You lepton.
The people in the comments would be the same way.
Did I do that right? Did I gender swap it correctly?
They would be the same way, though. They would, if a man did this, they would absolutely be like,
oh, yeah.
Have you ever considered that you're pushing her to the breaking point? That's what I'm saying. It's actually more understandable. I'm surprised the comment section was in his favor. I'm shocked by that. It's usually not, does not go down that way. Now, I will also say this, the other thing that made me surprised that people were on his side was when she goes, can you put the knife down when you're talking to me? Because usually people are like, see, he's so abusive. But, like, most people saw the humor in this. Me, personally, you guys know me, I was literally stabbed, so I don't like when men talk to me with knives in their hands, but that's just me. I make that pretty well known. Like, there have been so many times that, like, TJ's a very animated talker, and he'll be, like, moving a knife around, and I'm like, you have to stop doing that. You've gotta stop. I'm gonna have to leave the room.
Trubius, you're so nihilistic.
So you
dude.
just take it in perpetuity like a good cuck husband.
Like,
he
everything that
didn't.
you said is such a little piss pot whiny response, dude. Like, come on.
You guys gotta watch out when TJ's on stream, because you guys know me. I'm a woman, so I think that I have an additional responsibility to call out other women when they are behaving badly, because men can't do it.
It's so weird because, like, I'm
he's around and you're a man behaving and badly.
I'm sorry, but it's like if I'm out here being like, hey, maybe you shouldn't literally textbook example weaponized incompetence, and then you're like, oh, so he should just take it like a good cuck husband. Insert AOT meme of, I'm sorry, that was a strange thing to say. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it is...
Now, I will say this, I don't think that this is weaponized incompetence.
No, I'm talking about when he was like, he looked at the thing and he was like, you do it, there's too many buttons. And it was like, you could have, again...
If someone's nitpicking me, if someone's literally, like, breathing down my neck and they're like, you're doing that wrong, that's when I'm kind of like, then you do it. Like, that I do kind of get that reaction.
And again, but all I know, all we have is the context here. Has she been nagging him for the last 15 minutes?
Yeah. Maybe
he has been descended into this then. I have zero context. All I have is, I want it cut this way because this is how I want it cut, and I don't care if it's going to affect you.
There's also a lot to be said too for the fact that, like, I will give the wife some credit here, and anybody who's been in the situation where you are probably like the more, I don't know if like the more clean is the right one, but maybe like just the more disciplined when it comes to daily life, and you've ever lived with someone that you have to like correct multiple times over and over and over again all throughout the day. Like, you're leaving your dishes out, you're not cleaning up after yourself, like you're leaving everything a mess. When you've ever had to be in that situation, the little things really do start to like grind your gears, and it can look like nagging, but also if a person is just like constantly half-assing everything,
and
then you're gonna get so much more annoyed with that, and we just don't have the
Yeah,
context.
we don't have the context. Somebody, and I saw Drew responded, I agree. She is intentionally, like you can see, especially towards the end, she is poking the bear. And I will say there was a point I was starting to be like, okay, all right. I'm like, I can see that you are overwhelmed, you are overstimulated, and then I think he just lost me completely when he just looked at the stove and was like, you do it. That's when I was like, God, I can't even listen to what else you have to say, because I understand, again, you're overstimulated, and we have zero context around this, but it's like, what we saw, I've seen plenty of videos that you have shown me, and I've given way more benefit of the doubt for so many things, but I just don't feel like he threw me enough bones to give him enough grace for the kind of like childish shit that he did.
They want you to watch it again.
Okay.
They said that you got to watch it from the beginning.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Maybe I just need to. Okay.
Cutting that wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm cutting how much I want.
But that's not how you cut a pizza.
What? I can cut a pizza how I want in my house.
Okay, well,
I just want this corner. That's all I want.
I know, but what about me?
You cut your own pizza.
You're literally holding
You're an
the
adult.
knife.
You cut the pizza.
Oh my god, can you put them?
Yeah, I actually don't see what he's doing wrong right now. Like, it's not like he's cutting in a way that she will not be able to have any pizza. He just said, I literally just want this little corner. So he's basically explaining that, like, he doesn't want to cut the entire pizza because he only wants a small piece. She's basically trying to argue, like, well, if you're gonna cut the pizza, just cut the whole pizza. And he's just annoyed. He's just so annoyed. He is so sick of being nitpicked in his own house. But it's also, like, I don't understand the in his own house thing if she picked out the oven. Why are we buying an oven for another man's house? Not to, like, sound immediately like a feminist, but, like, that's just not a smart decision.
Did she say corner or quarter? Because if someone's saying he said corner on a circle, if he said corner on a circle pizza, then yes.
I think he just meant, I don't know. When you say corner,
I'm sorry, but
if
he said quarter, okay, I might have overreacted there, because, yeah, you can't just cut a corner and still, like, cut, I guess, the rest of it, but it's weird that he didn't just finish the fucking job. But it's like, if he did a corner on a circle pizza, no. He's allowed to have a small slice. Yes, you do that by cutting the slices smaller and smaller.
My takeaway from this is that the reason she said you're cutting it wrong is because he's cutting it with a knife instead of a pizza cutter, and or because he's cutting himself the triangle without cutting full, like, without doing what you did. He's not doing the full plus sign,
Yeah, dude, I really want
or
pizza
the full
now, too.
X. He's just doing a triangle. And she hates that. What do you guys think? Is it wrong to just cut a triangle out for yourself, chat? Chicago cut might be what she wants.
What the fuck is Chicago cut?
I maybe a Chicago cut. Oh, hold on. I got leave that one open. That one's next. Chicago cut pizza.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just cut out a quarter.
It's when they cut a circle pizza into squares.
Oh, that's what that's called? I just called that wrong, dude. I didn't know that's what you called it.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
okay.
He might be doing a little Chicago cut, which in that case, it's still not. This is back to the same thing that we always talk about: is your way the right way, or is it just the way that you do things?
But then
And,
it's like, here's my thing.
it clearly has a style. It's not necessarily wrong. Yes, most people cut pizza in a triangular style, but it is his house. Again, I don't know why she bought an oven for his house.
And I think they're living together, but it's like, I don't know. This is like, I'd love to see how he's trying to cut it. I would love to see.
So it's his house, but it's her oven that she has to take care of.
Right.
Yeah, they both suck in a lot of ways. But how dare you, Urquin? Why does everybody have an ugly, dirty dog in their kitchen? That is a gorgeous German Shepherd. And I will not
Urquin,
tolerate.
I don't know what to tell you, man. You're in the wrong live for that one.
Did you know that the seat of a toilet bowl has more germs than your cutting board in your kitchen? Or no, sorry, I said that wrong. The cutting board in your kitchen has more germs than your toilet bowl in your bathroom. My bad, that's what I meant to say.
Paul's right. For thin crust, you do make squares with a round pizza. Yes.
Oh. So yeah, okay, wow. We're really debunking her here. I think this all might be why she got ate up in the comments. You want to see the rest of it?
No, I saw the rest of it.
Okay.
The beginning didn't change that. I guess it's just I want to see what exactly it was, I guess, that was doing it, because I think I just got put off by his tantrum that I didn't look into the nuance. I'm still super unimpressed with his behavior over hers. But also, we've all had crash outs. I'll give him that. Still not super impressed with his behavior. Could have, what she was asking was literally not really anything extra. Especially with those guns, he could have cut through that pizza, no problem.
Let me address that golems and goblins, because I at first was terrified too. If you ever try to cut a pizza on my stove, I will crash out instantly. I will probably be a little bit mean about it. Like, if someone was at my house and they started cutting a pizza on my stove, I'd be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Have you ever lived in a house? What the fuck are you doing right now? Like, I would probably be a little bit mean about it. But you can see it. He's cutting on top of something. Do you see that little bit of cardboard? It's not much, but I'll allow it.
It's probably the one that pizza came in that they
probably
put in the oven.
Yeah, I'll allow it. I'll allow that as the cutting board. That doesn't make me that upset.
Mm-hmm.
But I got worried about that too.
100%.
Yeah, it's we have to know more context.
I guess I gotta know more context. I'm still kind of like, it seems really weird to me, just so weird to me that he just wouldn't cut the rest of the pizza. Or that he's cutting it weird. That, again, it's just a lot of weird behaviors that I need more context to why he's behaving this way. But I am understanding why people are siding with the lady on this.
Mm-hmm.
With him. I understand why they're siding for both. I'm still currently on her side, but I've moved closer to the middle. But it's like, I mean, this seems like a silly fucking thing to be upset about, to where, like, you're right. There's probably a lot more going into this, but it's like, I've had crash outs before. Neither of us has ever had crash outs. Like, it just felt like we were watching our daughter having a tantrum.
I've had crash outs like this. I feel like you've definitely witnessed me having crash outs like this.
Maybe.
And you have. It's when I'm really overstimulated, when just like there's been tons of clutter, like everything's loud, there's so much on my mind, and then like someone also leaves a bunch of plates out, and I'm like, I can't do this, I need to go outside, I need to go for a walk, and I'm like out there, you know what I mean? You've seen me do this. Nope, this is too much for me. So like I could see this going two different ways. It's like two of the strongest possibilities for what's happening here for me are, one, that it's a reactive abuse situation where like she has literally been on his ass, nitpicking, tearing everything apart, and being so annoying that he is just like, stop, get off my ass. Like, he's genuinely sick of her, and like, of course this makes him look bad because she's not filming all the antagonization that has led up to it. Or, like I said, or maybe he's just such a like constant asshole, and is so thoughtless all the time that she's finally had enough and is like, are you once again like making a dinner where you only consider yourself? But it's just hard to believe that that's the case because, like I said, like he did seem to have made them both drinks. I could be wrong about what I'm interpreting here, but
Resting fawn face.
this is the kind of woman who films her man cutting pizza at 11 p.m. That is exactly correct. If there's a lot of things we can only speculate on, but that is one that we can determine for sure, is that she is the kind of woman to film her man at 11 p.m. cutting a pizza. Looking in with Victor B says, just got caught up and 2 thoughts came up in the first story. Approaching the group is the rom-com moment many ladies cry out for. I disagree. And 2, does it survive the gender swap? I think once you get a little further in, how did you catch up? Because we already talked about that. Oh, maybe we didn't do the gender swap for the first one. But the gender swap for the first situation, I feel like actually would probably work out the same way. Like whenever we've seen situations where like a woman sees like a man in a suit or something at like a nice restaurant and she tries to approach, but he's like in a group at a meeting, they might be like, sorry, we're busy. You know what I mean? Like, I think it might have the similar things, but no, if a girl approached a group of guys, they'd probably love it.
Yeah, and in terms of this one surviving the gender swap, no, I mean, we just did the example.
He meant the first
the first
story
one.
with the approaching.
But like
But we agree the gender swap would have the same results for this.
Yeah,
one.
I'm just kind of like I think I had such a strong reaction because I know exactly why. I had such a strong reaction to him to where I just got so blinded because he literally did he did the weaponized incompetence, and I felt like Leonardo DiCaprio meme of like as soon as he did it, and it felt the same because with my ADHD, especially when it was undiagnosed, for years I felt like people would treat me like, oh, you're just pretending you can't do it, or stop, or you're saying you forgot so that I take over, and it's like, no, I honestly forgot, and I don't know how. And then it was like once I learned about it and how to wrangle it, but it's like I hate weaponized incompetence as an argument because I'm like, sometimes people have mental roadblocks that make it very difficult for them in like really stimulating circumstances.
Besides not being able to turn the timer off, like what did he weaponize that she was originally criticizing him for?
It was you can cut it yourself and you do it. And it was just one of those, I think it had that same trigger in me when we watched that show where the girl used her disability, like, kind of maliciously.
But it's not as though she was like, what's for dinner? And he's like, pizza, but you can make it yourself because I don't know how to cut an extra slice. Like, she literally, the whole conversation was, what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. And he's like, then cut your own piece.
No, not that. It's that when he's like, can you stop the beeping? And he just literally turns to the oven and is like, just gives up and says, you do it. And it's like, he didn't even...
She told him to turn it off before that.
Yeah, she said, can you turn it off? And he's like, I can't find the button, you do. It's like, you didn't even look. It's like, if it's driving you crazy...
Hold on. What a terrible still for the camera to die at. Let me fix that real quick.
So, it looks like I'm giving my fanfic of Star Wars. But... I know she was already sassing him, guys. The thing is, I'm pointing out that when he did the thing that I, for years, have been saying people overuse, and then I see it right in front of me, it just sent me into, like...
But it only looked like weaponized incompetence. It was more of just an overstimulated crash out, which is different.
We think.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And again, I'm just saying what I saw and why it happened, and I'm willing to give him more grace, but I need way more context, because it was just like, I saw something that looked to me like a textbook example of something that I try to fight tooth and nail saying is not as widespread as it is, and then like a super simple thing that, again, could definitely be overstimulation. But
I think that there was a lot more that went into it though, because first of all, she comes out and she's like, "Ew, why are you cutting it like that?" Like, and so he's already like, "Okay, then cut it yourself." And she's like, "But that's not how you do it. Can you just turn the thing off?" And at this point, he's so annoyed with her that he's just like, "You want the pizza cut right? You do it. You want the timer turned off now? You do it."
that's not what I saw though.
But because she says it, she's like, "Can you just turn that off?" Like while he's
Right, and then I see him turn, and then he's like, "I can't find the button. You do." Like it's one of those, I can't find the thing. You do it because you know how to do it. Why are you asking me?
I saw it as you do it because you want it done right now. Because she's already like coming at him with all these like, "You're doing it wrong, you're not doing it right, like why are you doing it like that?" Like treating him like he's stupid.
Maybe they're
and
just
so I
both
think
fucking
he's
bad
just
at
kind of like
communication.
giving up and being like, "Fine, you want to treat me like I'm stupid, then I'm stupid. You do it." Like, and I kind of saw it like that. Like, you're gonna call me this, like you're gonna treat me like this, then that's what you get. Like, it's kind of at the point like, damned if I do, damned if I don't, then I'm gonna don't. If I'm damned anyway. But yeah, TJ might be projecting, but I get it. Like I think we all have moments like that where it's like, this looks like the thing that like really affected my life, so I have a lot more empathy to it. And there's times where we get that wrong, and there are times where we get that right. Like because of TJ's experiences, there are a lot of times that he's able to accurately call out like, "No, you're misusing your disability, and that is not the appropriate way. You're just making excuses." Like there are times when he's right about that, and then there are other times where it's like, this really looks like something that like I've actually seen people do. Because the thing is, weaponized incompetence is real. It wouldn't have a term otherwise. Like, we all know, and we've probably all done the thing where we're like, I'm gonna just like, "Oh, I'm so bad at this, you're better at this, you should do it." Like, we know that exists. Anybody who's ever been on a team with incompetent coworkers knows that exists. Anybody who's ever been put into a group project with a bunch of incompetent classmates that put it all on you know that this exists. But it is overused. Yeah, it's overused, and there's a lot of times, especially with clips like this, where there's so much context missing that it just looks like that, but that's not actually what's going on. Arsian says, "Hey, I don't know if you guys are the correct people to ask, but I'm turning 30 in January. Do you guys have any advice for a hetero male in his 30s?
Rolling Stone gathers no moss.
I don't know. I like being in my 30s because it's like pretty much just like being in your 20s, except you probably have a little bit more money. That being in your 30s is not that different though than being in your 20s. The only thing I can really recommend is, just because you're in your 30s, don't make the mistake of thinking that you're that much smarter than you were in your 20s. If there's one thing I fully learned in my 30s, it's that I thought way too much of myself in my 20s. I thought I was so smart, and the Dunning-Kruger effect has definitely hit. Like, I definitely know that I'm smart about a lot of stuff by now, but I also know that I'm so ignorant, and there is so much to learn. Matthew says, "I've gone so far on tilt, I lost my pants pockets." I don't know what that means. What does going so far on tilt mean? Especially in relation to this topic. Except that your body will betray you over the next 10 years and make your peace with it.
Silent Storm, I don't...
Here, entertain the people. I'm gonna pee real quick, and then I'll look up back.
Triggered in the I did see the first half of the altercation twice, actually. We stopped before it went to the second half. Oh, whoops. And I did literally gender swap it. I did the whole crust joke again. The way to cut it. It's I think if a woman was doing this, I'd be like, "Oh, weaponized incompetence, gross!" Like exactly what you guys call men out for all the time. Like I still am eliciting the same things. I don't like watching adults. Actually, that's a lie. I love watching adults throw temper tantrums, especially on like Karen crash out videos. Those are like my favorite. Not my favorite, but they are fun to watch sometimes. Yeah, Silent Storm, I absolutely did the thing. You're not the first person to ask me to do that. I did it. Gender swap, and I felt the same way. Didn't get any extra grace. What if she is the never DM rules lawyer? Would his crash out be justified? Never DM rules lawyer. Oh, wow. I guess... I never even thought of that kind of dynamic. That fucking sucks. A never DM rules lawyer. Well, this is actually how you're supposed to play the game. Then you run the fucking game yourself. It's like, that is a... I guess if we're in the context of literally at the D&D table, then yes, his crash out is justified because he's putting it on, he's doing everything. This is a pizza that they, again, outside of context, but you give me all the context I need with your example, looking in is a never DM rules lawyer. I know I have all the context that I need for that. But I just not knowing, like again, you don't want to come so down hard on somebody. And again, I've acknowledged that, like, my crash out was because I saw what I interpreted as weaponized incompetence, and because I have personally fought against that being thrown at what is just like neurodivergence going off the handles, it sent me into like the same thing as when I see people using their disability in a way to try and get advantage of people. Like it sent me down a way. Let me see. Are you that frustrated? It can be really hard to think through problems. And I've been there too. I'm trying to give him as much grace as I can. It's just man or woman or outsider in between that binary.
It wasn't his best moment.
It wasn't his best moment. It wasn't his best moment at all. And that's just what I'm kind of like, that wasn't it. I'm having a hard time totally giving it to him.
I think I missed a super
I've got
shit.
way more, let me see. I meant to ask for dating advice in my 30s.
I don't know, because I never dated in my 30s. This man took me off the market a long ass time ago. I don't know. I guess you met me in your 30s.
No.
Did you? No,
I
you
was
didn't.
26,
No, yeah, that's
27.
right. We went into our 30s together.
I guess what I would say is in your 30s, I got to imagine it's a lot like your 20s, but there's even less bullshit. Is just shoot straight. Just shoot straight with them. You know, there's a lot less pretense when you're dating people as you get older, to where it's like, oh, I'm a young 20-something baby. It's like, no, we're both in our 30s. We both grown. When we sit up out of a chair that we've been sitting in for too long, like we both have to exercise.
I would expect that people put up with a lot less bullshit in this age. So, like,
yeah.
I would anticipate, like, you're gonna get away with a lot less. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you can kind of be a lot stupider in your 20s, and people tend to accept it. But, like, that's one thing I've had to acknowledge is, like, you know, definitely now that I'm in my 30s, I don't get to... And especially now that I'm a mom, like, I really don't get to behave a complete certain type of way anymore. I mean, some of you guys get mad if I even use lingo like crashing out. You're like, come on, Lauren, you're not a teenager anymore. You don't get to use fun words.
Crash out's been around a lot longer than teenagers, guys. Yeah, I mean, I came down too hard on the guy a little bit. Well,
like I said, it looks bad. It looks like he's yelling at his girlfriend over pizza while wielding a knife and saying he doesn't know how ovens work in his own house. I agree with you completely. It looks bad. I don't know if this guy even knows that this is, like, on the internet. Let me see if it's like... let me see. It looks like he might be tagged. This was posted by I am Sam B, and then this is Taylor. Is that him? It looks like him.
Yeah, it's definitely him.
Okay. He looks like a silly, goofy,
For
quirky
sketches?
fellow.
No, they are just goofy motherfuckers then. Okay.
Okay.
So this was a fucking... You were seeing a silly person having... Okay.
Or maybe it was like...
You're cutting that wrong.
Maybe it was like a real crash out, but like he was being extra funny about it because they both know that they're both comedians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he was playing it up.
Yeah, again, now
But
that I
that's
have
awesome,
now that
though.
I have way more context, these are two professional, like, quippy people in, like, a situation where he's just sort of... He's going on a rant like I go on rants. You sort of, like... took the rock off the leash and gave it a little nudge down the hill and just like watched it go.
I don't think this was a sketch. I think this was a
Not a
genuine
sketch, but I mean like
interaction. But it could have been a sketch.
He's
yeah,
he's just going on like a rant. He's going on a rant, and if he is a stand-up person, he's probably one of those people that can just riff as he keeps going.
Oh, Matthew clarifies on tilt meaning emotionally and mentally overwhelmed.
Tilt like a pinball machine. Got it.
Sorry, I've been learning so many new terms lately. Like I definitely don't know them all. But wow, we've definitely covered the shit out of the new Pizzagate. The much more tame Pizzagate.
Much more tame Pizzagate. It's like now that I have the context of who they are, I'm gonna give him way more grace. I just don't think this landed the way either of them thought it was going to land.
I don't know what she thought this was going to be like. And it's interesting because I feel like if they are like internet actors, comedians, people who are chronically online, you would think that she would be aware of the culture of posting a video like that of her man and the risk that might come with, that like people might really hate him. It feels like as a comedian, she's probably would have been fine with the results that she got, which is like, you know, and if they hate me for it, then so be it, because I'm just here to make silly videos anyway.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just have an agreement, like neither of us care how we go down. And if that's the case, who are we to judge? Who are we to say that she's wrong for posting this if he was like, dude, I'm a silly, goofy guy. We're going to have a silly, goofy time, and you can use me for content whenever you want.
Maybe. Anyway, speaking of, I gotta go to work.
All right, get out of here, silly, goofy guy.
That's me.
They will talk about the great TJ Pizza crash out for generations. It was foretold. It was spoken long ago that TJ would be our great pizza prophet and lead us into the next revolution. Okay, next up. I told y'all I was going to make you mad. Now, this year has been full of a few different baseball-related controversies. The first one coming to mind being our most recent baseball Karen, where a ball was found and caught by a dad who expeditiously walked it over to his young son and proudly put it in his hands, but before they could really even celebrate, an older woman, far too old to be behaving this way, approached them both, began berating the father and demanding that he hand over the ball to her, believing that she was the right and correct owner of this ball because it flew in her section. The father, whether you agree with his decision or not, concedes. You see him just hand over the ball, and you see him looking very annoyed. Many people were upset with the father for this, believing that he should have stood up for his son more, and that his son is probably going to learn a lesson about Karens being able to just get their way whenever they want. But there was ultimately justice with that situation, as this Karen was blasted online, I believe faced many social and career-wise repercussions, if I recall correctly. And the family, the father and his son, were awarded with, like, I believe multiple merchandise items. I don't remember all what it included, but I remember that the team did hook them up very well after this. So regardless of what you think of how the father handled it in the moment, at least it ended up pretty cleanly for everybody involved. The villain seemed to be pretty punished, and the innocent parties seemed to be rewarded. Sorry, I just have to blow my nose real quick. 1 second. It's bothering me. Anyway. Well, there has been some new baseball drama, and similar to the baseball Karen situation, This one does end with some justice. So while you will feel the rage at first, just wait. Just wait. And just keep waiting, because apparently I have to format this. Alrighty. Let's pull up this whole video. Text on screen reads, being humbled and patient is not weakness. Or being humble and patient is not weakness. What we can see so far before the video even begins is a woman in her seat at the baseball game just using the man in front of her as a footrest. She puts her feet on him. He turns around and says something. Probably, if I had to imagine, something to the effect of, "Can you please get your feet off of me?" She takes them off for a moment and leans in and says something herself, to which you see him wave her off as if to say, "Go away, I don't care what you're saying." And she immediately goes and puts her feet right back on this man's back, aggressively, hard. Like, I'm not saying as if like gently placing your dirty, nasty feet on my clothes is ever gonna be appropriate, stranger to stranger, but she's not even like remotely gentle about it. She's like laying her feet into this man's back. So now she keeps readjusting the feet. She's really doing like calf raises on this dude's back. And now she's actually moved her feet up to where they are now set on his back, neck, and head. Now, I don't know if the seat to her right is taken, but it looks like she's sitting completely by herself. I really don't even know what the deal is here. Wow, so I was already shocked that she's got her feet just fully on him and she's resting them there, and he decides to just ignore it, which, better man than me. Better man than me. I'm not a man at all, but better man than me. I would have crashed out. I don't know if I would exactly resort right to laying hands, but I would be standing up. I would be starting a scene in that moment. But he is just ignoring it for right now. But then he's ignoring it, so she needs to up the ante. Like, she doesn't have his attention enough, I guess. She's not, like, getting the reaction that she wanted. So she starts actually, like, aggressively kicking into his back. And security has come. I love that, like, these annoying, entitled types, they always want to make everything seem like it's their own idea. Like, if people are suddenly, like, they don't want to be their friend anymore, well, they were beneath them as friends anyway. If they get dumped, like, he was just an asshole. Like, everything is their idea. So, as if she wanted to be arrested that day, when security arrives, she's got her hands out, like, "Take me away, boys!" Like, oh, wow, look at you. You're such a femme fatale. But despite her initial appearance that she was going to go easy, she, in fact, resists, refusing to move any further, and causing security to literally have to hoist her out by the waist. Totally do. Yeah, we're getting the full... I'm still trying to see if there was someone in that one seat behind to the right. Everyone's capturing this on camera. Nope, she was not sitting with anybody. Oh, the boy, there was a boy there. Wow, so I don't know what was up with the seating arrangement, but it doesn't appear that anyone was with that woman. It appears as though she came to a baseball game by herself. I don't know what the context is there. Maybe she just likes to go to baseball games by herself. Plenty of people do. Maybe she intended to go with someone, but she got stood up, and so she is deciding to now take that out on some random guy in front of her. I'm not sure what the situation is. Maybe that's the guy she came with, and she was being so goddamn insufferable that he asked the guys in front of them if he could just go sit with them, and they obliged, and that pissed her off. I don't know. What I do know is that it appears for the major majority... That was redundant. What I do know is that it appears for the majority of this whole incident, there was like a small boy sitting next to her. Like, she's just behaving this way in front of children, like, no care in the world that this is the example she's modeling for youthful eyes. Clearly don't care about anything, though, because, like, what did she think was going to happen? What did she want to happen? What did she think she was doing? Like, I'm trying to imagine, maybe this guy was being a huge a-hole. Maybe he did start it. What did she think that choice to literally assault someone was going to do for her? Clearly nothing. Even if he started as the a-hole, he won. Right? You may have left your wet shoe prints on his back, but he doesn't care now because now he can enjoy the game in peace. He won. Right? I mean, good lord. That one was an absolutely wild situation. I'm not sure that this woman is going to get like fully identified or anything because we never really even get to see her face. I believe this happened at a Mets game. I'm not sure if that helps or if the full story is ever going to come out, but Dylan said she was stomping on the patriarchy. She sure was doing something. She was defending feminism with that brave action. If he had started it, the White Knights would have been defending her. I mean, I don't know. If she was like completely out of her element, like she really didn't have any friends there, for all I know, maybe they did gang up on her and she was just like doing the best with it that she could. I don't know, man. That is just a crazy ass thing to do. Like, this seems like the kind of person who probably does this kind of shit on a regular basis. Like, I highly doubt this was her first rodeo at all. I actually heard that this lady was charged, yes, and rightfully so. They have to set a precedent for these sports games. Do you know how much money goes into these? Do you know how many wealthy as oligarchs are behind every sports entertainment we know? Yeah, they are not going to want this representing their hard spent dollar. All right. Narrator voice from the Harv guy. She never had friends, and she never will. She will never be able to keep them around, it seems. Wow. I mean, really playing devil's advocate here, do you think that there is anything this guy could have said or done that could possibly warrant that behavior? I mean, like, we're talking nasty stuff. Maybe he was saying stuff like, oh, your kid died, I'm glad your kid died, and saying a bunch of atrocious about women and being pro-slavery, and I don't know, like literally the worst you could possibly imagine. Is there anything you could possibly see him doing that would justify that? Where once you heard that side of the story, you're like, you know what? She needed to kick him some more. I don't know. What do you guys think? What we're seeing, it's hard to imagine that he was really in the wrong, because whenever in any situation you're the one who is calm, cool, and collected and the other person is crashing out, you're gonna win in the eye of public perception. Like, point blank period. You're just gonna look like the more reasonable one, even if you are the one who started it. Even if you were the main antagonizer, you are going to look like the reasonable one. This question does not survive the gender swap test. Very good point. You know? Resting Bunface, good shout out with that question. Like I said, I was trying to play the devil's advocate here, but yeah, it's true. If this was a woman with her friends and some dude was there by himself just putting his feet all over her and stomping on her back, security wouldn't even have time to get there, because that dude's ass would be getting pummeled. He would be getting hammer fisted right into the concrete of the stadium, dude. Like, absolutely, dude. People would be throwing their hot dogs in his face, dumping their drinks on him. Oh, hell no, that does not in any lifetime survive the gender swap test. Even in the most patriarchal of societies, you just don't lay hands on women like that, you know? Shiny Luna says, never escalate to physical violence. Words equals words. Yeah, that seems to be a pretty common line here. I feel like only the most radical people seem to feel differently. The tankies, I believe is what y'all call them. Is Gengar swap when you trade Haunter and they evolve? Take a trophy. Take a medal. You deserve it. That was amazing. All right. I think we have time to get into the last topic of the day, which is, it's going to be a little controversial. Like I said, I'll try to keep it chill. You ready for this, mods? You ready? Warm up. Crack your knuckles. Get ready for this. Now look. I think it's fair to say that a healthy chunk of my audience is a bit neurodivergent. Is that fair? Excuse me, I decided to just choke on air mid-sentence. But yeah, I do not think it would be too wrong to infer that a great deal of you are a bit spicy-brained, a little squirrel-brained. Many of you rhythm with the tism, as some might say. I myself have a little healthy brain damage, right? I think that tons of us fall under the umbrella of our brains are weird, right? It's quite a spectrum, quite a large umbrella that covers many a different brain. So I think most of us understand that we're pretty sympathetic, pretty empathetic, and pretty pro-neurodivergent gang. We have no opposition to your existence. In fact, on this channel, we work really hard to get other people to understand what it's like having a spicy brain, what it comes with, what that means for you, what they want you to know, things like that. So every time we handle topics of neurospiciness, it's really important to come at them from a standpoint of compassion, understanding, and an objective approach, right? Like, we can't just be all in on any one direction. Like, everyone with ADHD deserves to get away with everything. Nope. Or anyone with autism deserves an endless bank of forgiveness. Not exactly. Another thing we do on this channel is we still hold each other accountable, no matter what. So today we're going to cover a creator whose videos have gone extra viral with their approach to neurodivergent brains, specifically the autistic brain, with the creator making a very specific claim that a lot of people, both neurotypical and neurodivergent, have taken significant issue to. I will roll the clip for you, and I will ask you guys what you think of it. Do you think that she is totally off base? Do you think that she is making a valid point that people really need to understand and listen to, even if it's hard to hear? Or does your ultimate opinion end up falling somewhere in that nuanced middle space in between? Without further ado, let's get right into this next controversial video by a neurospicy creator. Get it loaded up for you. Let me expand this out a bit. I don't know why some of these load a little different than others. Oh, I know why. Because I'm in the wrong window. This is the one it's formatted to. Got it. So, I can't play the audio for you, but before we get into it, the audio overlay is that one song meme that's, "Do you have any kids?" And it's, "Yes, I have one daughter, how about you?" And ultimately, the lyrics are like, okay, so she has one daughter, and then the guy asks, "How many baby daddies do you have?" And she's confused and dumbfounded because she's like, "I just told you I have one daughter." And he's like, "Right, so how many baby daddies do you have?" And what a lot of people are doing is using this song format, which is based off of like a allegedly real conversation between text that someone had and submitted to a guy who makes songs based off of text fails, basically. And the way that people are using the song is to create their own conversations that they have with people to the tune of the song, where they're having to explain things to someone that they're just not getting. A lot of people use this in very funny ways. A lot of people use this in very goofy ways. So I'll kind of have to walk you through this. So audio only gang, don't worry, I got you. This is a woman. I will physically describe her appearance without like any major judgments, just so you understand, because I do feel like the context a bit matters, especially when we get into the comments. This is a woman with, I would say her hair is done. It is styled, it is deliberately colored. She has also put forth effort into her appearance, makeup-wise, and she's skilled at it, I would say. There's contour, there's highlighter, she's done her mascara very well. She's wearing earrings, she's wearing a cute choker collar, she is wearing a tube top. I just feel like that is relevant. Craig, I'm sorry, I don't know what a neurospicy fetish is. Maybe I'll look into it if I learn more about it. I'm sure anything can be fetishized, but I don't know anything about that. Yeah, she's very pretty. So, in the meme of this, the first question that she's asked is, "So where do you work?" And then she plays herself responding to it, where she says, "Oh, I'm autistic and disabled, so I can't work a traditional job." Herself, playing a different person now, says, "Well, money doesn't grow on trees, you know. You know we have to work, right?" A pretty common response. I think she would get to this. She looks at the camera very incredulously, very dumbfounded, not understanding, just as the meme tends to go at the "how many baby daddies do you have" after she's just said she only has one daughter line. She then explains, yeah, I know how money works. I just can't work a job." So she's kind of now like looking at them like they're stupid. Like, what? Now, this person who she's playing continues to press on. "You know, we all have to do things we don't want to do." Another valid statement, right? Things that it seems as though she's heard it a million times. And now she's very incredulously, like, once again, so annoyed that she's even having this conversation, because she's got her head in her hands. shaking her head, literally the SMH pictured. She responds, I'm disabled. It's not really a choice. Which is also true. Depending on your disability, it may not present in a way that anybody can just see right away. And many people cannot work traditional jobs due to their disability. For example, I have a friend who ended up getting one of the first double lung transplants in our state with some new technology that I believe she was like one of the first 7 patients in the whole world to try. And leading up to this major surgery that she almost died from, she was having a very difficult time with what was a disability caused by, I believe, cystic fibrosis is what it's called. She always references CF. So if I'm wrong about this, I'm so sorry, but I'm trying to just give the details as best I can. All you need to know is double lung transplant. Her body was f***ed up and fighting against her. And I remember she was working a job at Jimmy John's and they were getting on her ass because she wasn't fast enough. And she was like, I'm sorry, my lungs are failing. And they're like, you look fine. And she did. She looked like, just like this girl, really, just like another tatted up, gorgeous young girl with tattoos and piercings. I already said tatted up. Sorry for being so redundant today. And you would literally never know she had a disability, but she did. The tricky part here is she doesn't tell us what the disability is outside of autism, which, do we inherently consider autism a disability? Is autism considered one of the number one? Okay, it is considered a disability. Okay. Understandable. Now, whether or not you consider autism a disability that prevents you from working, this is where I'm sure you can see where the controversy and debate came in. We will get to the comments. We will cover probably everything that you guys are thinking right now, but I'll at least finish the video. So after giving a kind of like, can't you see, like head shake at the camera, she goes back into playing her other character who says, maybe you just need to try harder. No one wants to work these days. True. And to that, she doesn't fully give a response. Her response to that is just, I just can't, with a crying emoji, basically. Like, she's just so tired of it that she literally does not even have like the emotional or mental bandwidth to continue the conversation. So this was a TikTok video posted by the Autistical Chemist, and the caption reads, that conversation with someone who doesn't think disabilities are real. As I'm sure you can see, we've already got a first couple comments at the top, and we see, girl, please. Post by a woman. I always say that just because I feel like it matters. And by another person that says, quote, I don't want to work. So you can kind of see where a lot of these comments are going to end up going. But before we even dive further into those, I just want to clarify that of course I acknowledge that you are autistic and that things will be very different. And I'm willing to accept my autistic brain makes it difficult for me to work a traditional job. Valid. With a lot of the way people's brain works, the traditional 9 to 5 just they're not built for that. Like everyone is different, right? I think where she started to lose people is when she shifted from I can't work a traditional job to I can't work a job at all. There's no way. And I was still willing to hear her out, honestly, because she kind of had me in the first half because I was like, you know, a lot of people do have a hard time understanding neurospicy brains and understanding that they just work a lot differently than people might expect them to work. I do understand that, but like I said, that's the first area she lost me. Then she started to really lose me at the caption because she's creating a straw man right away. She says that conversation with someone who doesn't think disabilities are real. But in the characterization that she presented to us, none of the people that she was talking to ever said, no, you're not autistic, or no, autism isn't a disability. No one ever said that. No one ever said disabilities aren't real. The argument, as you're going to see play out very quickly, is, hey, tons of us have a disability and are working. So there's a bit more burden of proof on you, the person making this claim that you cannot work at all because you are autistic, to explain why you as an autistic person are completely unable to work, but other autistic people can do and have to and are expected to. Like, there's no other way. And I think what a lot of other people are taking from this is like, let's take all that aside. Let's take away the kind of burden of proof to demonstrate why you can't work, in a sense. Not that she needs to, not that we're owed that explanation. Really, you can post whatever you want online and never follow it up ever and leave people in absolute carnage and confusion. That's fine. But I think the other thing that people probably got rightfully upset about is what's the word I'm looking for? The expression of privilege that goes into this. Because I think a lot of people understand how hard it is to work when you're autistic. It's just that most of those people don't understand how you're living without working. Like, even people who receive disability checks are typically not even receiving enough to fully live off of. At least not live like a really, truly fruitful life. And so they're just kind of wondering, like, what privilege do you have that affords you the ability to be autistic without working? How are you doing that? Is, I think, a lot of the question that people have. Though we will end up seeing other comments where people are basically saying, like, no, you're completely valid for this. So let's go over a few of the comments and then we'll discuss our own opinions. Yeah, I think a lot of people would be happy to never have to work. Absolutely. We saw the first two comments. Let's keep going. I have Asperger's and I'm about to enter medical school. I mean, yeah, dude, I don't know if Asperger's is a modern diagnosis anymore. I believe it is just a different variation of autism now. But people who have also been diagnosed with Asperger's in the past, Eminem, prolific rapper, considered one of, if not the greatest of all time, the creator of Pokemon. I really don't even feel like I need to list a third example, but clearly successful people working jobs with Asperger's. They're probably going to be a great freaking doctor. If Eminem and the creator of Pokemon have taught us anything, the fact that you're able to make this TikTok proves you're capable of working. It's what I do. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. It's not for everybody, but what I do for work would not really be considered traditional. My freaking mortgage lenders will definitely tell you it's not traditional with all the hoops they've got me jumping through. But yeah, being a YouTuber is not exactly traditional, but it gives me a living wage. It even if it didn't give me a living wage, even before it gave me a living wage, when I was first starting, it was giving me like really helpful supplemental income, you know, but now that I've worked at it, dedicated myself to it, you know, honed my craft, even with brain damage, even with an epileptic brain that is supposed to make memory and language very hard for me. And sometimes you do see it's hard for me. You do see me stuttering over my words. And now that I'm getting this diagnosis, maybe that's why I couldn't say my R's for 12 years and my name used to be Lowen. Huh, a lot of things are clicking for me now. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of examples that you'll see of people with all kinds of diagnoses doing all kinds of careers. Autism, agoraphobic, PTSD, BPD, manic depression, Jesus Christ, they've got the royal flush, crippling anxiety. I work full-time. That's another great example, actually. You know who was severely agoraphobic? Agoraphobia being the fear to leave your house. So an incredibly crippling condition, as I'm sure you can imagine. Maybe not like the greatest example of a person giving her like controversial racial history, but Paula Deen. Paula Deen, everybody knows Big Butter Paula Deen, that cook lady. She eventually left her house and conquered that and worked her ass off. I have cerebral palsy and work. Yes, one of my and TJ's best friends has cerebral palsy. You will see him every Sunday, actually, if you ever tune into my husband's Dungeons and Dragons streams and his channel at OTL Rook every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You may notice that he always has his arm up like this, and that's just part of the cerebral palsy. He's just never going to have the exact full motion in his arm ever. I have never met a more hardworking man. Almost. I mean, probably shouldn't say never. That's an empirical, but like, one of the hardest working people I have ever known in my life, has additionally struggled with employment due to that. You know, he also had a very similar problem to my other friend with the double lung transplant, where he was working at a pizza place and so they let him go because he was too slow. You know what he did? He literally took up a legal case, fought it, and they were forced to hire him back in a different position. Like, he literally worked to work while having cerebral palsy. And I get that these are all cases, and there can still be exceptions to those cases that I might not fully understand. She might have an additional disability besides autism that I'm not fully understanding, and she is not required to disclose to us as the audience. But clearly, and I am not the only one who feels like there are just too many missing pieces for me to fully understand this claim. Some people, it seems like, are almost taking insults to the claim. Like, what? Autistic people can work regular jobs. This is a great one. Elon Musk is autistic and a billionaire. Not just a billionaire, like multiple times over, a multi-billionaire. Not just one of the billion. Like, not just one, billions. People using autism as an excuse not to work is next level. I know someone severely ADHD, bipolar, and autistic who held down a full-time office job for 2 years. I'm a high-masking autistic with ADHD, and I'm a manager, and I work 40 hours. You can do it. What specifically precludes you from working? Many people with disabilities work, and work is hard and challenging and draining for pretty much everyone. I don't think anybody would disagree there. I don't know many people who are like, oh, work is fine and easy. Like, good for you if so. What is preventing you from working? Disability is a mindset. You are obviously very capable. Most people couldn't have produced this video or done their makeup or hair half as good. Yeah. So many autistic people work with the correct support and adaptations. Did you dress yourself, choose your hairstyle, a necklace, accessories, come up with a video? You can work, no problem. You may not like it, but none of us do. As you can see, there aren't a lot of people on her side. Okay, yeah, Drew, I'm glad you brought that up. Musk was born wealthy. True. But there are people with disabilities born wealthy who are too disabled to continue making that money. I think the point is still valid whether you love or hate Elon, and trust me, I hate him, is that he's still able to work. He's still able to be a general nuisance to all of us and try to force his worldview on a country he's not even a part of. He's a freaking Canadian. Go back. Sorry for the Elon slander. I used to like the guy. I really did. But God, he's fucking pissed me off so much. So that was her first video. I had to look up more because I was like, can you please give me some kind of like additional information or context? Like, I just need a little bit more, and you can call me judgmental for needing more. I think that a lot of people would be like, no, she's explaining to you she can't work, just believe her. Like, it's her situation, you're not the one paying her bills, so don't worry about it. Okay, maybe, but let's hear what she has to say. I think this might be licensed music. Let me actually scroll and see. No, original sound. Okay, so I think she's talking about it. This is her saying, when I'm open about the fact that I can't work a traditional job. This is like the thing about her claim, is there are so many ways that she could have reframed this. She could have said, when I'm open about the fact that I don't work a traditional job because of my disability. I don't think she would be getting anywhere near as much slack, because that's our American privilege and freedom. It's our right to choose to not work if we don't want to. Now, we might suffer the consequences of that based on our debts, what is required to live. We might find ourselves in quite a pickle due to that decision, but we have the right to not work. Absolutely. It's the fact that her claim is that she can't. She can't, and that it is unreasonable for anyone to expect her to work a traditional job because of my autism. And I think that's the part where she's really losing people. Oh, sorry, I started it without audio. Love doing that one.
When I'm open about the fact that I can't work a traditional job, people can get so nasty and so judgmental so quickly. And this is what I've learned about why people feel this way and why they're so willing to just like fight to the death to defend the 9-to-5. Capitalism has done such a good job of convincing people that our self-worth and our value as human beings is dependent on how much we contribute to it. If you want the masses to pour so much energy and put their best effort into jobs and positions that take advantage of them and don't compensate them fairly, you best believe that the way they're going to do that is to convince you that your sense of self, your identity, is rooted in it.
Okay, I get where she's going with this. There's still more to the video. I'm just pausing for now. She is kind of trying to take the approach of comparing the anger and the vitriol that she is facing to the anger and vitriol that kids who are getting their student loans forgiven are getting from people who paid all of their hundreds and thousands of student loan debt off all by themselves. Is there are certain people who, like, they do kind of get their panties in a twist in a way that's not fully justified of, well, that's not fair that you don't have to do what all the hard things that I had to do. And it's like, you know, if it doesn't really affect you, why are you being so mad? Like, if it was to make sense financially for this person to get a scholarship or whatever when it wasn't previously available to you, then the answer isn't to stand in the way of them receiving the scholarship, right? Like, the answer is probably, it just sucks that there wasn't that scholarship available for you at that time. I kind of see where she's starting to go with this, but there's a couple places that she's losing me already. So the first thing is that she's trying to blame the only reason for feeling like their sense of self-worth is tied to how much they're able to be productive to society on capitalism. But there are so many other both religious and secular reasons that people tie their sense of self-worth to how much they are serving the world and greater community around them. That's not wrong. Like, you can argue that capitalism is severely flawed and that we should not be like worshiping money at all. We shouldn't be making how we go about our daily lives and how we center our lives around money. Absolutely not. I completely would agree with that, but I don't think it's fair to just be like, capitalism is the only reason that people want everybody to work so hard. Well, yeah, and also because there's a lot of stuff that needs doing. Quite frankly, because there's a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of shit to build, a lot of shit to fix, a lot of things to figure out, a lot of people to contact, things that need to be communicated, things that need to be written down and scribed and, you know, recorded throughout history. There's a lot that needs to be done. It's probably one really big reason that people want everyone around them doing as much as they can. So I think that's the big issue here, is the can versus can't, because I think that it's valid and fair for society to have a general expectation of the people around them to do as much as they can. Personally, I think that's what we should all be doing, is the best we can. Which is a vague definition, right? I'm sure we all have our own like ideas of what the best we can looks like. But this is why people are getting so upset about her definition of can, is because they're seeing it as her trying to wriggle her way out of the maximum amount of responsibility that she could put out there. Is it that she cannot scientifically and biologically, or is it that she cannot because she has a limiting mindset and she doesn't want to? I think that's what people are getting really caught up in. Let me do a quick cursory scroll. I was just about to check to see if I missed any super chats, and I just got one, Arcian. Communism doesn't work because nothing's free. There are a lot of political ideas and economic and social ideas that are just way too ideological, and I think that communism is really high up there. It's up there with like a total patriarchy. Like it's just ideological. It's not actually like, we can't effectively do it and see great results.
They're going to convince you that you should take pride in how much you exhaust yourself.
Again, another weird claim. Like, these are all coping mechanisms that she has designed to convince herself that she is morally right for not working. She is convincing herself that the pride and identity that people gain from their labor is a false lie. And it's just, what are you talking about? If I was ever able to successfully build a home for my family, or work hard doing something else that affords me the ability to buy a home for my family, you think it's a lie and like just something that rich people made up and sold me on, that I should feel proud, that I should feel like I'm a great wife and mother for doing that for my family? Huh? No! That's not something that capitalists made up and sold to us so that we would be better dancing monkeys. Like, there is an element of that in capitalism. Like, absolutely. When they have those, like, morale meetings and they're like, our numbers are up, gang. Like, you just keep working hard and selling and our team's gonna do so good. Like, there's a little bit of that where they're like, you're doing so good for society by selling more cars. You know what I mean? Of course. But what do you mean? Like, I feel feel so much pride when I exhaust myself. Have you ever heard the quote, "A tired dog is a happy dog"? It's true. And we should all aspire to be like dogs in so many ways. Dogs really have it figured out. Actually, I shouldn't say that because she's like, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to freeload and just eat. But dogs also serve. Dogs also work their ass off for their homeowners, or for their homeowners, for their owners, their pet owners, you know? They're so loyal. You know what I mean? But yeah, like when I ran my 5K this morning and PR'd, got a personal record, run faster than I've ever ran before. My pacing was 8:55. I haven't run that fast since high school. I was exhausted and very proud. And not because a capitalist told me to be, because I earned no money from that run. Just proud that I was able to exhaust myself to that level and have such a great human experience of resilience and grit. That's a very natural human condition.
You should take pride in how well you perfectly meet the standards that they have created for you to meet. That living to work instead of working to live is how things should be.
I agree.
And so because people have invested so much...
But what happens when you're only living and there's no work? Like, I completely agree that you should be working to live, not living to work. How do you live without work? And what are you doing to live? Is the question on all of our minds.
Of their time, so much of their energy, so much of their lives, trying to meet the standard to be this good, valuable, worthy human being.
Then how do you measure how to be a good, virtuous, worthy human being if not by the efforts and time you put into the world? How else do you possibly qualify that? I don't understand, because if you are not working, and it doesn't have to be a traditional 9 to 5, people have always worked long before Henry Ford was like 9 to 5, like long before that, we know this. Like, otherwise, all you're doing is draining the earth of resources, right? How do you define your worth? Is it, well, I made people smile? Wasn't that, I guess you could call that emotional labor and non-traditional work. I don't know. How do you do it, though?
You best believe that they're gonna defend that shit with all they have. Because unfortunately for many people, they feel like that is all they have. The fact that people...
Okay, that's actually true, though. Actually, Bars, I have to give it to her there. This is something that I talk about with men, is there are so many terrible, like, I don't know if this is the right word, but like impositions almost that people put onto women of, this is your value, you need to take pride in this, and this is what brings it to you. And that's why women have such an issue with like needing their house to be perfect and clean all the time, because that's how we were socialized, and it's annoying and it doesn't help anybody. And men have a very similar problem with work, is men are socialized that like you have to be very good at working and earning money, and you also have to be very good at having sex. Like, these are two things that are like drilled into men's brains in a very unhealthy way. So I definitely agree with kind of breaking down the kind of almost too damaging social construct of like, men, your entire worth is linked to your work. Absolutely. And but it's still work, ultimately, what all of our value is tied to, because I would just encourage the definition of that to be expanded to like, men, you are also valued for your fatherhood, your friendship, your brotherhood, your mentorship. Like, it doesn't have to be just you being someone else's grunt that makes you valuable, of course. So I agree with her there, but I'm pretty sure she'll lose me again.
Choose not to work, don't need to work, or can't work because of disabilities is so threatening to their sense of self and their knowing of what reality is.
What did she just say? Hold on.
Because unfortunately for many people, they feel like that is all they have. The fact that people choose not to work, don't need to work, or can't work because of disabilities is so threatening to their sense of self and their knowing of what reality is.
Okay, with the exception, literally the only exception being people who cannot work because of disabilities, an exception that I have always put into any conversation that I have when it comes to like my expectations of fellow people. Why would I not judge someone who simply chooses not to work or doesn't have to work? Like, you can argue, oh, you're just jealous. Well, yeah, but I also have a valid reason to criticize people who don't apply to them and have no work ethic because guess what? As you just said, they don't have to. What do you mean? Those are the worst kinds of people. What do you mean they're just attacking my sense of self? They're a plague to society. They're a cancerous lump on the teat of the earth. What do you mean? They're the worst. They're the worst. If you can't work, of course I want to help you. If you're choosing not to because you are rich enough to, fuck you and pick up something and do something, dude. Why should I have to work harder to support your lazy rich ass? No, fuck that. What? Now I'm crashing out.
Because what do you mean working isn't what life is all about? What do you mean life for different people does not involve working for whatever reason that might be? And as I've been doing this unraveling within myself, I've just realized that not everybody is at a point that they are willing to undergo that realization and that unpacking within themselves.
Right, because not everybody is able to work. Sorry. Because not everybody is able to live without working. Probably almost everybody is literally not able to live without working. And that's why you're getting the pushback, is because you're making these very obtuse ideological videos where you're like, why can't we just live in a world where no one works? And everybody's like, because we can't. And you're like, why are you so mad at me? Like, because what you're saying doesn't make any sense. Because the rest of us, like, there's no one just giving us housing, just giving us food, just giving us heat, just giving us air conditioning. So we don't understand what you're saying. You're just like, I just feel like people should just be able to do whatever they want and no one should care about anything, man. And we're like, okay, but no, because why do you get to just take a bunch of resources without giving anything back ever? How are you doing this? Like, what is your solution for this?
It's scary to unpack the fact that the purpose that you have been working towards in life that makes you feel like you're a contributing member of society is just keeping you working there. And the question of what is my purpose?
No, it's not like some silly lie that someone made up and packaged and sold to us that keeps us working jobs. It's the reality of the situation that we live in. And this is what's like really, really really aggravating when you end up like talking to or arguing with uneducated anarchists or communists. Very different than arguing or discussing things with educated anarchists and communists, by the way. But the types of people who are just like, man, no one's gonna make me work for the man because I see through it all and I'm a rebel, so F all that. I'm staying in my mom's basement. No one's gonna make me work. I'm just like, dude, you refusing to work is not the gotcha to Big Brother that you think it is. Like, all you're doing is making everyone else around you wipe your ass for you. That's all you're doing. Like, that's what's so aggravating, and it's an argument that's like constantly used, is like, well, I'm not gonna work for the man because I'm above all that. It's like, it doesn't matter what your ideologies are. It doesn't matter if you think that it's unfair that there is a wage disparity. You still have to afford your way through life somehow. It's still not fair for you to put the onus of your life's financial burdens onto other people if it's not absolutely necessary. And that is what people are getting mad about, is not because of some like fanciful weird lie they've told themselves, but because of the fanciful weird lie that you've told yourself. You're not explaining how to live without work.
This outside of this, for many, is a scary question to face. And so it's easier to villainize those who operate outside of the norm than to look this system and structure that so many have been operating off of in the face and realize it's a lie.
She's basically just saying, don't be mad at me because I don't have to do anything because my parents pay for everything. Be mad at capitalist scum, which there is a point there. There is that there are always going to be bigger fish to fry and worse villains. But you don't have to make me respect a person who's perfectly capable of working, but refuses to because they don't have to, because they have enough privileges they can tap into. It's not illegal. It shouldn't be illegal. I don't think that this person necessarily deserves like major harassment or anything, but I don't have to respect you. I can throw shade at you. I can comment on your video like, I think that you're making up an oppression fantasy right now in your head. Like, I don't think things are the way that you're describing them necessarily. I think that you're using other people's real problems and almost cosplaying as though they're fully your own. Like, I'm not doubting that she has a diagnosis of autism. I'm doubting that it's worse than most autistic people who are still working. I'm not doubting that it's very hard for her to work a traditional job. I'm doubting that she can't. Is that fair? Or are any of you guys still like really on her side and kind of the opinion of like, I don't know, I feel like everyone's being hard on her. People just don't understand how autistic brains can work. And if you have the ability to live and not have to do that much extra trauma to your autistic brain, then like, congrats to her. Why are we all hating from outside of the club just because we can't get in? That could be a very valid take, quite frankly. So, as I was like trying, because like I said, I couldn't let go of like, do you have another disability that has just not been mentioned? Like, can you explain more of why you can't? And so I found this clip on her TikTok that appears to be from her YouTube. She says, full video up on my YouTube, link in bio. And it says, my story of quitting my 9-to-5 job from autistic burnout with no plan and the universe providing. So I was like, this is it. This is the video that gives me all of the answers. But when I went to her page, it was no longer in the link tree. It was no longer in her bio. It was actually very difficult for me to find the YouTube video. And I kept like trying to look for it. And I was having a really hard time, but never fear, you guys. I found it. I was eventually able to get it. Let me make this a little bit smaller. I've got it. We'll watch it together. How long is it? 25 minutes? All right. I'm going to have to put it on 1.5 speed, y'all. And unfortunately, I do have to pee again really quick. I just drank a lot of coffee. So I'm going to BRB screen it really, really quick. We'll be right back to watch this. I swear I will not be long. Give me just a second and we'll get right into this. Okay. Told you it wouldn't be too long. All right. Playback speed. Oh, is that? Okay, I was like, that's not as fast as we can go. Okay. All right, guys, let's react to I quit my 9-to-5 job from autistic burnout and the universe provided. Will we get a little bit more information or will we just come out even more confused than before?
So I start this story concussed in college and just getting diagnosed autistic. So to set the scene, I think this was in late 2021, kind of leading into early 2022. I was in college at the time for interior design, and in October, I had got into a pretty bad car accident that left me with concussion. Now, this is important to say now because this will be relevant later on. So college was already not accommodating for me as it was, being that I'm autistic and also ADHD, but it was definitely not accommodating for me, being that I had just got a pretty bad concussion, and I was needing to heal from it, but I was honestly still kind of being stubborn and still pushing my way through classes and really just trying to get through it. And so, as if this wasn't enough to process on its own, in the beginning of 2022, I had gotten diagnosed autistic finally at 22 years old, and about a month after that, I also went into a guided journey where I really just came to terms with the fact that I was...
Okay, so audio only crew, when she says guided journey, an emoji of a mushroom comes on screen. Now, okay, I want to start by saying I know tons of you who have truly had like amazing transformative trips, be it on mushrooms or some other item, but a lot of people swear by mushrooms. It's from nature. People believe that they've had incredible spiritual or religious experiences. If not any of that, have just like reached a point of finding clarity of something in their life that they truly attribute to the guided journey that they went on. At the same time, there is still something about every single time some hippie is like, well, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but then I took mushrooms and sorry, I'm sorry, but like there is something about that makes me like, I bet, okay, oh brother, especially if it ever ends with, I went on a guided journey and that's when I knew I had to buy a van and quit my job. Like, why do mushrooms always tell people to do that? Why are the mushrooms always going, get dreadlocks, burn sage, quit your job, buy an RV? Why are the mushrooms always telling people to do that, man? Why can't the mushrooms ever give people a different idea?
Was really burnt out and that I needed to leave college and really focus on healing. Now, this was me leaving college once and for all because I had taken probably 2 or 3 leave of absences before this. Honestly, those are their own story times. So much happened then. But this one specifically, with me deciding to leave college once and for all, I think was really important because it was the first time I had really come to terms with the fact that I couldn't go about life the traditional way. My family and kind of with what society kind of told me was the right way to do things was like going through college, then getting the right job, and then everything just works out. And so this was a big step for me, I think, along this journey, of course, of
There's like a lot to like say for the fact that I think we can all agree that the thing that was fed to us of if you just do all these things right, everything will work out for you was kind of a lie. Like, I think that we can all agree that the plan, you get all A's, you go to college, you get the job, you get married, you have babies, then you'll be fine, is not exactly true. I think we can all agree with her there for sure. It's just that most of us don't take it so far to where we're like, and that's why I can never work again.
eventually leading me to where I'm now, but of course just being a first step to really recognize that I am not fit for the traditional path. Now, with that being said, I still felt like the next step was going into the workforce. I thought, well, if I can't do the traditional path this way, maybe I'm just not suitable for college. Maybe it's time for me to just kind of make my own path, but still going into the workforce. And so after I decided to leave college in early 2022, I spent those following months, I think this was through the spring and then the early summer, just kind of taking it slow and really recovering from the burnout and really recovering from my concussion. At the time I was living with my partner and our cats. And so I was able to financially support myself with having some leftover loan money from when I was in college. But I knew after that...
No! Caleb Hammer would be screaming right now. Oh my god, no! No! You can't, oh my god, no! Don't support yourself with leftover loan money. Use that to pay back the loans so that it's not accruing interest. No, that's not a savings. No!
That I needed to figure something out. And so the time came around like summertime where my partner was like, hey, I think it's time you start looking into getting a job. My loan money was kind of running out. And I was like, okay, this is when we kind of start, making the path for ourselves, right? So being that I didn't have a degree, but I still felt like interior design was the right path for me, I thought I could kind of get like a stepping stone where I could have some experience working in interior design before I really went full out for like an interior design firm job. So I ended up getting a job at kind of like a furniture retail store in a mall. And this was a sales job. And being that I'm autistic and really do not like talking with people in like a public retail setting, I knew this was going to be a challenge for me, but I was like, you know what, it's okay. Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I'll push myself outside of my comfort zone, whatever. And
these are all great ways of phrasing it. Saying, being autistic, I knew sales would be a challenge for me is valid. Saying, I'm autistic, so I can't do sales is not valid.
As you can probably imagine, it did not go well. I lasted not longer than a month there before I was like, I need to get out of here. So I started interviewing and kind of looking for more serious interior design jobs, trying to get a design job with like a firm that would actually, be a step in the direction of a more long-term career. So I ended up getting a job, and honestly, a really great opportunity presented itself to me with an interior design firm that was small in size with like the people that worked there. It was just a designer and kind of their business partner with maybe one other person who worked there, but very successful in terms of the types of projects they were working on.
Dude, imagine dropping out of college and you are offered not an internship at an interior design firm, your dream job, but a job, a paid position at an interior design firm. Do you know how many women who went to college for that would want to fight you right now? I know them. And they're like, what presented itself to you? And you did what with it?
And interestingly enough, the main designer was looking to retire in a few years after this. And so they were looking for somebody who could eventually work up to being the lead designer there once he was looking to retire. And
they were grooming you for the main position?
And this was just a perfect opportunity for me all in all, because I was like, are you serious? Like, I didn't even get a degree. I didn't finish school. And now I'm with this design firm that I don't have to talk to people all day, like new people all day. I don't have to be doing sales. Most of my work is going to be computer work, talking with the few people I work with and, clients now and then. It was also just amazing in terms of the career opportunity of it. It was like maybe, college just wasn't meant for me and I just needed to find something like this. And so I spent a few months getting adjusted to working there. This job was about an hour away from where I live currently. So I needed to commute an hour there when I drive there in the morning and an hour back. And this was a really big step up for me because, of course, I went from not working, leaving school, to my sales job I had, which was part-time, to now working full-time, and I was having an hour commute both ways every single weekday. But being that it was an amazing opportunity and I really needed a consistent sense of income at the time, it was worth it. This was a bit tough because I had bad driving anxiety from my car accident that had happened just before that, but I thought it would be
valid,
a good
valid.
opportunity to kind of work through that
That's fair.
by
That's
needing
fair.
to expose myself to driving so much every day.
Yeah, I don't know if any of you have ever been in a traumatic car accident. Thank God I have not, but my husband was in one when he was 3 years old, and that is why he is deaf in his left ear. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that. Luckily, when he's like standing right next to me, it's not a problem. He can still hear me from his right ear, from right here, but he cannot hear in his left ear. He was in a car accident when he was 3. He had to learn how to walk again, and to this day, I am a permanent passenger princess because he always prefers to drive. He does not want anyone driving him anywhere to this day. And that happened to him when he was like a baby. But everyone else I know who's been in car accidents, like some people, it took them a very long time to be able to drive again. So I'm going to give her some compassion there for sure.
So I started this job in, I think, around September of 2022. And then through this fall and winter time, I kind of started getting into a rhythm. And when you work full time, things kind of start getting a bit monotonous. So I started looking into hobbies and kind of trying to keep myself occupied and interested in things outside of my job. I'd always been interested in spirituality and kind of wanting to learn more about it, but I think this kind of gave me the opportunity. And around this time was when I decided to start learning tarot. And it honestly just came to me randomly. I was like, I just want to start learning tarot. I had another kind of guided journey when I started this job where I experienced getting a tarot reading, and I was like, you know what, I really want to learn how to read tarot myself because the reading was so potent and powerful for what that specific journey ended up being about. But the thing is, there's this weird arbitrary rule, you might have heard of it with tarot, where it's like, oh, you need to be gifted a tarot deck in order to learn how to read it if it's your first time. And I was like, that does not feel aligned with me. I just want to buy my own deck. And so I had this vision of like the perfect deck in my mind. It was colorful, the images were bright, and it had holographic foiling on the side.
So you want to pursue I want to say like a pagan is the right word for it, like a pagan sect, a magic that has been long practiced before you've ever come around. You went on a quote-unquote guided journey. You believe that you have guides when you take the mushrooms who are your spiritual ancestors or whatever people in these pagan sects tend to believe. You believe all of this. Tarot is not something that was invented by you. Tarot is something that has been long been practiced amongst many pagan communities. But your first introduction to it is you've decided that the rules do not apply to you and you're just going to do your own thing with the prettiest one you can find. That seems a bit, I'm not going to pull the cultural appropriation card or necessarily the typical white girl card, but it's a little disrespectful, don't you think? Like, like, come on now. I have a sibling who is very interested in magic, pagan arts. I have other family members who are as well. As it turns out, my own godmother would convert to Wicca. So very ironic choice of a godmother, as it turns out. But my sibling is very gifted in the tarot. I am not a magical person. They have inherited all of the magic. I'm not about to pick up a tarot card and just start pretending to, like, just start winging it, dude. Like, probably listen to someone who knows what they're talking about.
And so within 2 minutes of looking online, I found the deck looking exactly that way. It's my Mystic Mondays deck, my favorite deck. The images are so colorful. It's worn out by now, but there's holographic foiling on the side. I was like, perfect. And this is when I started experiencing more synchronicities, like me imagining the deck and literally finding it and getting it and it just being so aligned. Also around this time was when I had been, I think, wanting to learn more about witchcraft and like magic and, you know, manifesting and things like that, but I just didn't really know how to do that. I had been having these dreams about like deities, specifically Hecate, and I wasn't really sure how to like move forward and go deeper with it, but I ended up super synchronistically getting connected with somebody who was very much into witchcraft and the occult, and they ended up teaching me a lot at this time as well. So it's kind of like that saying, like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and that definitely happened to me in multiple ways. So honestly, things were going okay for a while. I was learning tarot, I was learning more about magic. These things were really getting me through the winter and like the monotony of just the cold and, you know, driving and being out every single day in the cold, because I can sometimes get seasonal depression. So I was working my job, I was learning all these new things, and honestly, things were going pretty well for a while. But I started to hit this wall, this burnout wall.
Editing Brianna here. I forgot to add that about a few weeks into this new job that I got, my grandmother passed away. And I grew up very closely with my grandmother and my grandfather too. When I was younger, I would kind of go there 5 days a week during the summertime.
Is she naked?
Until I was old enough to stay home alone because my parents worked and I was an only child. So I grew up very closely with them, and yeah, like a few weeks into this new job, I had already had this very much groundbreaking, like, medicine journey a week before I started this job, and then like 3 weeks after I started this new job, my grandmother passed away. So I think, looking back, like I was doing the best that I could to
Yeah, okay, this does suck for this girl. Like, she is getting her ass whooped.
I just needed some time that I just didn't have. And so it was going well in terms of the job, but I think I didn't have a lot of space to process everything that was going on. And I think that's also a part of like what ended up happening and how I ended up feeling. But anyways.
And if you're autistic, you kind of might know what this means, where you start hitting this wall where it's just hard to do things. It was tough to get there at the same time every morning. It was tough to find motivation to like get my food sorted out. And by the time I get back, I was just absolutely drained. So I think this is when I started.
Did she say get her food sorted out? Sorry.
Hard to do things. It was tough to get there at the same time every morning. It was tough to find the motivation to like get my food sorted out. And by the time I get back, I was just absolutely drained.
I think I get what she means by that. There's something that is constantly called the ADHD tax, and for everybody, it's something different. Like, you might have to like pay more for a cleaning service because you just know that you're not gonna like clean. There's something that you have to pay extra for because of your ADHD, right? And like, I use this term specifically because one thing that I had to start doing when I did work like a classic 40-hour job and my kitchen wasn't right there is I had to start getting like the pre-packaged meals. I'm not going to say which one I got because I reached out for a sponsorship or collaborative activity or opportunity and they did not get back to me. So I will not be doing any free promotion. But they're just like pre-packaged meals that you can microwave. And I had to do that because I knew that every single day, as I was rushing out the door, I was going to forget to pack a lunch. There was just something about it that I was never going to remember to do it. So that's what I had to do, but it kept me fed and kept me from overspending on, whatever eating out food was out there. So I do understand this. And I'm also going to give her the grace of like, this is a dream job for sure, but if you just were in a traumatic car accident and like dealing with newfound car anxiety and your grandma just passed away, like I'm understanding it a lot better now. I'm going to give her that.
So I think this is when I started to...
But it doesn't make sense for why she's like, and I'm never going to work again. I'm not going to afford that much grace.
Try to figure this out. I had to figure out why I was so drained. And it first started off with me learning more about like spiritual hygiene, energetic hygiene. I started to make my showers more of a ritual. I started to experiment with different ways to accommodate for myself sensory-wise in my house so that when I was out of work, I could have more of a relaxing time. And this kind of worked, but it just honestly wasn't doing it. I was still extremely, extremely tired. And so over the course of late winter into early spring and spring through the early summer, there were a couple of kind of like important checkpoints along this journey that I think on a grander scale were a call for me to start speaking up for myself, or a call for me to connect deeper with what my true needs are being autistic, how to kind of care for my energy, what kind of structures and things don't work for me. And so it was really a test for me to communicate, not being sure how well I would be accommodated for, how much I would be understood, how much the people I worked with were open to kind of like working with me, if they would accept that I was autistic, etc. But honestly, both times were a really great learning opportunity. And
there's also, it gets really tough when it comes to accommodations because like one thing that really pisses me off, like TJ was talking about this earlier when he was talking about how he hates when people take advantage of their disabilities because he's seen people who are like deaf use it or like pretend to be deaf or something, and he's like, don't fucking do that because there are people who are like actually deaf, and it's something that I've seen always pisses him off. And it's kind of like that. Like I've seen people really take advantage of being able to ask for accommodations. Like, do you guys remember that viral story where the girl was trying to claim that she needs an accommodation to regularly be 15 minutes late for work because she had quote unquote time blindness with her autism and ADHD? And people were just like hating that. They're like, no, like that's not an appropriate accommodation. An appropriate accommodation is I have a slipped disc and I need to occasionally sit down during my job. An accommodation is like I'm blind, so I need to specifically work with your software that assists with not being able to see. Those are accommodations, but some people really take advantage of these. So she's mentioned accommodations over and over and over again. And I believe she has autism. I've seen her stimming on her pillow this entire time. I believe she has it, but she's clearly high functioning. So I'm very curious as to what her specific accommodations are that she's asking for and demanding.
They ended up being very accommodating for me. And so first, for a while, I tried kind of working from home a few days a week, and then a couple days out of the week, I would go into the office because I thought it was the commute. I thought it was the drive there that was getting so exhausting for me. And so I was kind of going through this trial and error process of like, is it the way that I care for my energy at home after work? When I started...
Wow, so she works for an interior design firm, and they were like, oh, driving is hard for you, then work from home. How often can you do interior design work for a firm from home? Kind of a loaded question, but I'm very curious. You can often do it. Okay, so maybe that's not crazy.
Upping that and things weren't working out. I was like, is it my commute to work? So I adjusted that. I wasn't commuting as much, but I still was burnt out. And it finally got to this place where I just realized, like, I do not like this. That was really tough for me because I had left college confident, at least, in my career path, and then now to be thrown for a loop working in the field, realizing that I actually don't like interior design like I thought I did. I kind of feel like my body and soul is kind of like wired to not be able to do something that is not aligned for too long, or else I will go into burnout. And so this is basically what started to happen. So even the different ways I was accommodated for wasn't helping. I even ended up, transitioning to just being entirely at home and only kind of working as much as I was able to work, kind of on like a contractor type basis, but I was still just utterly exhausted, and I just was hitting...
That's crazy that she gets this golden opportunity, her dream job. They're like, you have no credentials, no experience whatsoever, but guess what? We are going to prep you to literally take over this entire place. She's like, bet. But I hate driving, it sucks. They're like, okay, you only have to drive for half the week. And she's like, okay, that's awesome. But also, what was the other one that she just mentioned? I'm so sorry, hold on.
I even ended up,
That's right. Then she's like, well, I don't want to work as much. And so they literally put her in a position of, you're basically a contract worker and you only work when you want to. This is like a unicorn. You found a unicorn in the middle of the woods. You looked at it and you were like, now that I'm seeing a unicorn, I've realized they're not that cool. And then you turned around and walked away.
Transitioning to just being entirely at home and only kind of working as much as I was able to work, kind of on like a contractor type basis, but I was still just utterly exhausted, and I just was hitting a wall. It was like every time I would sit down to work, I would hit this wall. And so throughout this process is when I really connected deeper with, I think, divine guidance and learning how to listen to signs from the universe. And even when I was out driving, because of how long my commute was, I had so much time to myself that even though I had breaks prior to this from things like college, this was like 2 hours out of the day where I was just driving. It became very meditative. And so sometimes I'd use this time to recite affirmations. Sometimes I'd use this time to listen to spiritual audiobooks or listen to Alan Watts. And because I was getting into such this meditative state while I was driving, I started to, connect deeper with like the language of the universe. I started to see way more angel numbers and things when I was out driving, where I'd have a thought about something and then I'd instantly see an angel number.
I saw a rainbow, and that's how I knew I had to quit my job.
And so as I was coming to terms with all this, the burnout, not liking my field I was in, I was really like, what the heck, universe? Like, what am I supposed to do? I would do readings for myself, and I kept getting this message of like the Tower card and the Death card and the Fool card and this very heavy like death, rebirth, heavy ending energy. And I knew it was coming to
I love that she puts up her tarot cards as if it's like proof. You know, like the way some people are like, and that's when they said this, and they like shoot up a text for like actual evidence so you know that what they're saying is credible. And she's like, but no, listen guys, it's the Tower. When it's the Tower, you know you can't work.
The point where I probably had to leave this job. But it was really a test of trusting the universe and continuing to trust my intuition because I didn't have a plan. Interestingly enough, like, when I was driving, I did start to get a lot of downloads. And so one of the downloads, which was like a random idea that came through one day when I was driving, was like, YouTube, content creator. You're going to do content creation. And even though at first I was like kind of rejecting the idea because I grew up very like shy. I didn't know I was autistic, but I was very much trying to stay out of the way. The thought of being seen and having a lot of attention on me and just speaking and talking online and talking on camera was very nerve-wracking to me. But something about this idea just felt right. It was like, I'd grown up watching YouTubers and watching story times, and it really helped me feel less alone. And I think it really helped me through that time of my life when I did feel very alone growing up. And so there was kind of this knowing of not sure how I was going to do it because there's so much fear there, but there wasn't also this clear plan of like, okay, well, how do I get there? Like
This is the ADHD part, the jumping from obsession to like, wait, no, this is now what I'm meant for. Wait, no, this is now what I've meant for. So like, again, I have a lot of compassion for her. I really do. When you're ADHD, it can be very hard to figure out like where you belong when your passions almost don't seem to even stick around for very long. Now, I feel like a lot of you do end up finding it eventually, somewhere, somehow, even if your ultimate passion is just, it always has to kind of be a hobby that's on the side because it's not like you can't realistically profit off of it or make it something that you can profit off of. But I feel like most of the things that bring us the most joy in our life aren't really something that we can milk for cash, and that's fine. It's just we also have to find a way to support ourselves too.
I'm gonna quit this job, but then I'm supposed to do content creation and like I don't even know how to talk on camera. Like that's gonna take time to build. Like how am I even gonna do any of this? And so now this is where the car accident becomes important. So throughout this whole process, there's actually an open case I had going with a lawyer for this car accident because
oh, so she got a massive payout and that's how she's able to do this.
So I was qualified for
I think I just saved us 10 minutes, but I think she'll tell us.
But as you know, with insurance, it is very difficult to get the money that is owed to you. So a lawyer had to get involved, and this case was running, honestly, throughout this whole process where I was working through this job. And so it was now the summertime where I hadn't even been at this job for a year. It was coming up on a year, but I was like, okay, I have to quit. But I didn't know like what I'm supposed to do next. So I basically said to the universe, like, hey, universe, if I'm supposed to quit this job, like all these readings are telling me, all these signs are telling me,
I agree.
But I honestly don't even know like logically why that would make sense. But I know it has to happen. You're gonna need to help me out here because financially I can't do this. I can't just quit my job. And so I ended up getting a call from my lawyer that basically this case I had going for all this time, this case I was connected to, my random crazy car accident, was finally about to close. And so just in time for me to quit my job, I was going to get compensated for the car accident and have a financial bridge to be able to take the leap. And this just blew my mind because I already believed so deeply in like guidance and divine guidance and what I was experiencing and what I was seeing along this whole time of my life.
It wasn't really that divine though. It was an open case that you'd been working on for several months by that time. I believe you'd been working on this case throughout the entire duration that you've been working at this job. So it wasn't necessarily that like you were gonna quit your job and you had no idea how things were really gonna go. I feel like knowing that you had a giant money pot coming your way probably also led to you being like, I don't really have to work if I have all this money, which unfortunately, you'll see this a lot if you do watch Caleb Hammer's financial audit or if you just talk to enough people in the real world. But I cannot tell you how many times people will receive a large payout from a settlement like this or receive a large inheritance and just no more work is happening. Suddenly it's a lot of traveling and a lot of just living and finding themselves. And it's like, that must be nice. I hate when people say must be nice when it's something you've actually worked for. But when someone randomly receives a ton of money just from a family member and they use it to quit their job, you're allowed to say must be nice.
Was so clear to me. But for this to happen in such like a physical way, in such a
now, to be fair, obviously, it must not have been nice to be in a car accident, right? Like, you could argue, like, well, she was compensated. She earned that money. You could say that, of course.
That was such a huge life change for me. Just completely blew my mind. And so I did it. I ended up quitting. I had money.
Sorry to pause again, but yes, I agree with Aaron who's saying invest that money and live off dividends. Grow your money so you don't have to work anymore. I don't think people understand like how much they could be making if they received such a, like she could have kept that job, fought it out a bit longer, invested whatever she got into a Roth IRA, and then she could start getting even more in savings back. But I don't know. That's clearly not what she chose to do. 1111 was another sign for her, I guess. Make a wish.
It was able to last me for a few months. But I was like, at the very least, I need these few months. Even if I have to get another job, I need these few months to figure out what the next steps are for me. And so with that break, I quit, I think, in August of 2023. I felt intuitively called to just get Reiki attuned. If you're not familiar with Reiki, it's kind of like an energy healing modality. And I had no prior experience with Reiki. But I felt called to get attuned. I went through the attunement for Reiki 1, for Reiki 2. And it honestly just opened me to this whole path that I'm currently on now that I just could have never seen.
Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, is that like when you become yoga certified? Like, so once again, a new passion. I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I'm gonna be a Reiki instructor. I'm gonna do tarot. Like, yeah, she's ADHD but like, I'm assuming she's now like training for Reiki as well.
Being coming. The energy work helped me to work through my fears of being seen and putting myself online. And so I started out with short form content, and over the course of that late year and 2024, I was really just figuring it out. And I was grateful to have the financial support of my partner that whole time once my kind of financial bridge ran out. And then I started my own business with doing readings and doing energy work. And it just opened the door to this way more aligned path for me that I am just so blown away, because it transcends any type of logic. I mean, on the outside, that decision to leave my job was absolutely crazy. I didn't have a degree. I got this really great opportunity that would have set me up for a really great career in interior design. But all in all, I followed the signs. And even though I'm still in progress of figuring these things out, I am just so much more fulfilled. I know that I'm on my soul path and that I'm actually doing something that feels right for me. And now that I am seeing success with it, it's so clear to me, like the power in intuition and following divine guidance. But it seems completely illogical because I quit my job without knowing what was going to happen, without a plan. I felt called to start content creation, and I worked towards it for so long with no guarantee that it would work out. But because I felt in my core, because I was following my intuition, because I was following the signs that the universe, that my guides were sending me, it was right. Everything they were saying that it was going to work out, that it was going to lead me to where I needed to be, was right. And so often we can make our decisions from a place of what is safe, what is guaranteed. But what I've learned is that truly walking my soul path and doing the things that open the doors to abundance that I haven't experienced before isn't going to look like doing things in the way that I've done them before. It might look like doing things that seem illogical to other people. It might look like, taking risks, calculated risks, with no guarantee that it will work out. If you're still here watching, my name is Rihanna, aka
White Wolf says the confirmation bias is wild.
Autistic Alchemist, and I would love for you to join me here. So if you like this story, be sure to hit that like button, be sure to subscribe.
Okay, so I think to summarize this video, basically what she was saying is that the reason that she decided to quit her absolute dream unicorn 9-to-5 job that wasn't even a 9-to-5 job, because they were literally willing to adjust her hours to be whatever the she wanted. So not even a traditional job. Very non-traditional. They adapted it and accommodated it to fit her lifestyle. But the reason she still left it is because she saw 2 rainbows. The time turned 11:11 once. She took a bunch of mushrooms, and some cards said so. And now it's, oh yeah, and because she was very, very surprised to find that the settlement that she had literally been working on for several long months finally closed as anticipated, but we're pretending that we're still surprised by that, and she realized that she was going to come into a significant amount of money. I guess that last part's pretty important. But after that series of events, she quits her job, and everything is fine now because she works as a magical healer YouTuber. And to prove that you can too, let's look at the numbers, baby. Autistic Alchemist, 160 subscribers. It's okay. We're a smaller channel. We're still growing. Hey, this one's, this one almost got 600 views. This one broke 1,000. We're not monetized yet, but we're growing. Hey, maybe the Instagram is... Oh, wait, here we go. We've got the link tree here. So you can get a reading from her. How much is that? Where are we? Oh, Deity. Oh, those are $111, but they're sold out. Okay, so she's selling out of these. I thought this said in-depth throat reading. I was like, okay. No, in-depth tarot reading audio file. Those are sold out too. I don't know how often she does these, but damn. There's still an autistic burnout Reiki healing video. Oh, I think you can just buy these, like they're already pre-made. Call back your energy guided meditation. Highest timeline guided activation. Okay, so she might be making some decent cash off of here. Free wallpapers. Is this just like, oh, okay, so that also links back to readings. Support your girl, and then you can just pay her basically. But it doesn't link to any of her socials in there. I'm not her PR guy, but I would definitely recommend getting that in there. Sorry, I'm just back on her TikTok because I want to see how that one's doing. Yeah, I don't even think she's monetized on TikTok. No, you have to have 10,000 followers to be monetized on TikTok. And then after you have the 10,000, you have to maintain over 100,000 views on your shorts for like within a 60-day period. I want to say, like, you have to get that many, and like we're just not there, folks. Like the one we watched, that one went pretty viral, like that one popped off. And then I think she also has an Instagram, but you don't get paid for Instagram. It's not a monetized platform. So how old is this YouTube video? When did she make this? That was 4 months ago. Okay, wait, I did laugh that she censored her feet in the thumbnail. That's funny. So what do we think, chat? That money is not going to last very long. I don't think that we're monetized on any of these social media platforms. And so the only way that she can monetize right now is by selling an $8 product, a $10 product, and like an $11 product. Maybe she's going to restock on her readings or something soon, and then she can sell those again. But we're talking, like, I don't know how many she sells a month. Maybe she does sell like tons, and maybe she is making like thousands a month on that. Possibly. Highly doubtful, but possibly. It's been 4 months now of living, it seems like, solely off of this insurance payout. I don't know how much it was. It could be a huge absorbent amount, but I don't understand how it's going to keep going. She didn't really do much to educate others on how to quit their 9-to-5 jobs if they have autistic burnout without a massive payout from a traumatic vehicle collision. There wasn't much of that, but I guess it's not called how to do what I did. It's just I did it, and the universe provided. So yay me. My only follow-up questions is like, are you just counting on like the universe just constantly providing? Is that like the mindset? Should, like, do you think that what you're trying to recommend to people is if they're getting autistic burnout to just quit their jobs and just follow the signs? Is that what you're recommending? Because don't. To anyone listening right now, don't do that. You will probably regret that. Wait, she said the payout already ran out? I must have missed that, but oh no. What is she doing? White Wolf says, I kind of feel bad for her. It feels like she drank the Kool-Aid for a pyramid scheme situation. Like she's using her diagnosis as an excuse for everything. But that's not a pyramid scheme. I don't think anybody's convincing you to do that. I think that people see the out and take advantage of it. Like whenever there is a system that can be taken advantage of, there is someone who will take advantage of it. I don't think that anybody conned her into anything. I do think that her diagnoses played a big role in how this has kind of spiraled, in my opinion, out of control. But I think that this is a very dangerous mindset, and one that is still very preventable, even if you have ADHD. Even with those diagnoses. Like, you still need to be able to recognize, I need something consistent and reliable. I do sometimes need to mask to participate in certain functions of society. I am grateful for those who accommodate me and work with me, right? This is mindful, but like, I do think that she has a lot more privileges that she could stand to become more cognizant of. Like, while we're on this big self-awareness journey, maybe humbling the fuck out of ourselves should be part of that agenda. I don't know how long this will last. I mean, ideally, what would be great is she does take off, she finds her niche, she's able to do this, like really do this for herself. I would love to see that. That would be awesome. I do fear that we need to be grounded in reality, right? Like, yeah, I do this full time now. Before I did this, I've never been unemployed. So I started working at 15 and have never been unemployed since. And I've always worked my ass off. And I have a plan if this all falls apart. Like, I do have career experience that I can just go right back to. Like, I will figure it out. I'm not gonna like be like, oh, that's the only thing I could ever do, you know? I guess I'll just leave you guys with the questions before I get out of here. Like I asked before we fully deep dived into this, do you think that she is just making excuses? We can tell just from looking at her, from the way she composes herself and, you know, is able to get ready to fully film this whole video and articulate all of her thoughts and tell a story, then surely she can work a semi-traditional job. Do you think that she really threw away a lot of opportunities needlessly and that she's going to regret it? Or do you think that a lot of this makes sense? Like, she got in a terrible car accident. Of course, she doesn't want to do a 2-hour commute every day. Her grandma just died. She's going through a lot. And for a lot of people, that's a valid reason to leave even the best of opportunities, to need some time to yourself. And if she was blessed with some kind of life raft that allows her to do it, then good for her. Or are you somewhere kind of in between, like a more nuanced middle ground of those positions? Like, she's clearly high functioning. She's clearly highly skilled and capable. It's not that she can't work, and she's also been afforded some opportunities and privileges that I'm not fully offended by her having, and I hope everything works out for her. I would say I'm definitely more the later end. I have a lot of critiques, many critiques, especially because she is like so close to being almost conservative plant levels of like woke lib millennial who's so anti-capitalist that they don't think that they have to work and wants everybody to accommodate for all of their different identities, right? Like, I have so many criticisms there, but I also have so much empathy for this girl. I care a lot about my neurospicy community, you know, in so many ways. And there are so many things that I think it's important to take away from this for people to be empathetic of the fact that spicy brains do work differently. Things are going to be a big challenge for them in life. And it's going to take some people a little bit longer to figure things out for themselves, right? At the same time, if you're going to publicize and film some of your worst decisions, we're gonna judge them. Yeah, I don't know what to... I hope that she does listen to her critics, though, and can kind of see how she comes across as, like, just a little bit too privileged, and how she's not actually fully helping other neurospicy or autistic people find a solution. It's almost just rubbing her privileges in people's faces. And I'm sure she will. I have confidence that she will. Two things can be true. I can be critical of a creator and the things that they put out there, and I can actually hope the very best for them and believe in them. You know what I mean? So, a happy ending to a Dadvocate video. a bit of nuance to top us off. All right, on that note, I don't think I have time for any last words, last questions, nothing like that. So if you have anything like that for me, you're gonna have to join the YouTube or Patreon membership and join us for our ad-free members only live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Hey, there's still time to buy your BroFest 2026 tickets. That's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. If you want a chance to meet me, also make sure to, if you're anywhere near the Denver, Colorado area, save the date for November. Oh shit, is it the 11th or the 12th? I'm a moron, so just give me a second. No, neither. November 19th. Save the date. I don't know what I have going on the 11th, but something that made my brain think that. But November 19th, if you're near Denver, Colorado, we are doing a march on the Capitol for fathers, families, and children, equal shared parenting, fathers' rights. We have tried to do a March for Men so many times, and the people are just not showing up. So if you're anywhere near the area, strongly consider putting that save the date on your calendar. More information will be coming out soon. Another chance to meet me. I gotta go get my kid. You guys have all been amazing. This has been a really fun stream. If you haven't liked the stream already, it will make your butt look better, I promise. And I'm gonna play the ending now. Bye!